Chapter 384. Now it's time to create a new system. Liu found a place to sit down on the mountain peak and began to think about how to create this new system. Since old Demon Wang's treasure is called Heaven-Defying Bead, I'll make this system into a bead too. Liu waved his hand to open the system's workbench, and multicolored light surged up. System, according to the appearance of the heaven-projecting bead, create a new system. Following Liu's command, an egg-sized, sparkling, and translucent orb floated up from the multicolored light. On this orb, there are lines of gold and silver mysterious runes, and there seem to be faint celestial sounds floating out from the orb, mysterious and unfathomable. This is called Heaven-Defying Bead, and mine is called Heavenly Fate Bead. My will is the will of the heavens, and the host I choose will naturally receive the will of the heavens. After naming it, Liu began to add various functions to the Heavenly Fate Bead. First of all, I need a weapon spirit. A portable grandpa is simply too useful. After analyzing the structure of weapon spirits from the previous world, Liu's Heavenly Fate Bead, weapon spirit, was no different from a real weapon spirit. Resource storage is a must. With a resource storage, one can recycle and use all kinds of resources. Naturally, this thing was indispensable. There's a space in the Heaven-Defying Bead, and it has the ability to accelerate time by 10 times. My Heavenly Fate Bead naturally can't be worse than it. Liu's thoughts turned, and he made a decision. System, add virtual illusion so that the host can accelerate time in the illusion and study all kinds of skills. Later cultivation in this world requires all kinds of comprehension. Then, comprehension is essential. Comprehension, I have plenty of ways to do that. The Bodhi tree planted in the Immortal Estates garden was to increase comprehension and enlighten people. System, set up an epiphany function. The Heavenly Fate Bead system can use the power of the Bodhi tree to increase the host comprehension. But this isn't a free service, it's 100 times the price. After setting up the epiphany function, Liu thought of another problem. The cultivation in this world also requires aptitudes and spiritual roots. It's very easy to create a supreme aptitude. Moreover, the early stages of cultivation in this world are qi refinement, foundation establishment, jindan, and nascent soul. With the experience of the previous world, it's enough to fool the host for a long time. After transferring the experience of alchemy, weapon forging, talisman crafting, and qi refining into the weapon spirit of the Heavenly Fate Jewel, the framework of the new system was basically complete. This world is also a world of killing and robbing. In this world where the strong prey on the weak, killing monsters to level up is the easiest way to increase one's cultivation. Of course, Liu wouldn't let go of such a shortcut. He added a function to his Destiny Pearl that allowed him to refine foreign objects and refine spiritual energy. The system has been created. All that's left is to find a host. Thinking of this, Liu raised his head and looked at the mountain village in front of him with a smile on his face. At this time, old Demon Wang should have gotten a place to enter the Hengyu sect, right? Wang family village. Taizhu, you're 15 years old this year, right? In the Wang family's courtyard, a strong man in his 30s looked at the thin boy standing in front of him with a smile. Yes, fourth uncle. After the new year, I'll be 16. The boy, whose nickname was Taizhu and full name was Wang Lin, bowed to fourth uncle Wang Tianhe. Don't be so polite. Don't be so polite. We're family. Don't be so polite. Wang Tianhe reached out to support Wang Lin and nodded with appreciation. Taizhu is really talented. Second brother, I came this time to discuss something with you. Wang Tianhe turned to look at Wang Lin's father, Wang Tianxue. The Hengyu sect is recruiting disciples this year. Our family has 3 places, and I got one. The Hengyu sect? That's the immortal sect. Our family got a place this year, and they even gave one to you? Fourth brother, you're in luck. That boy, Huzi, is suitable for cultivation in the immortal sect. Wang Tianxue looked at Wang Tianhe with a moved face, feeling very happy for him. Second brother, I don't plan to let Huzi go. Wang Tianhe looked at Wang Tianxue with a serious face. Second brother, Huzi likes to play with swords and sabers. I'm afraid the immortal sect won't accept him. Taiju has been smart since childhood. Let's give this place to Taiju. Fourth brother, this... How can this be? Wang Tianxue was shocked. How can this be? How can this be? Why not? Wang Tianhe glanced at Wang Lin and smiled. Let Taiju go. Taiju is so smart. He should be accepted by the immortal sect. Immortal sect? Wang Lin's heart was filled with longing. He had read many books and read that immortals could fly in the sky and burrow into the earth. They were immortal and very powerful. Can I also become an immortal? After fourth uncle Wang Tianhe left, Wang Lin walked out of the room alone and sat on a stone in the courtyard, looking up at the sky. In the end, what does an immortal sect look like? Wang Lin frowned in confusion and leaned against the stone with his head in his hands. A bright moon hung high in the sky, its bright moonlight spilling over the earth. Immortals can fly in the sky and burrow into the earth. They should be able to fly to the moon, right? I wonder if there are immortal palaces on the moon. That's... Just as he was thinking, Wang Lin suddenly cried out in surprise. He sat up and stared at the sky. In the sky, a figure in fluttering white robes was strolling in the air, riding the wind. Under the moonlight, this figure floated out of the dust, free and unfettered. This isn't immortal. Wang Lin was dumbfounded. Li Yu, who was flying in the air, suddenly heard a cry of surprise and saw the youth on the ground staring at him in a daze. So it's you. With a glance, he realized that the youth staring at him was the future old demon Wang. Li Yu smiled and shook his head. You actually met him? Li Yu had no intention of dealing with Wang Lin now. With a flash, he disappeared without a trace. Wang Tianhe is affectionate and righteous. He gave his son's fortuitous opportunity to Wang Lin. Speaking of which, this fortuitous opportunity to cultivate originally belonged to the youth in Wang Tianhe's family, called Huzi. Li Yu hit his tracks and followed behind Wang Tianhe's carriage, all the way to Wang Tianhe's house. I'd like to see if that Huzi can become a talent. If his temperament is passable, then I'll bestow upon you an opportunity. After hiding his tracks, Li Yu's figure landed on the roof of Wang Tianhe's house. He separated a portion of his consciousness and floated into the room, listening to the conversation between the father and son of the Wang family. Huzi, do you blame father? Wang Tianhe sat on a chair and looked at the silent and solemn youth in front of him. The youth was dressed in black. He was handsome and high-spirited. Between his raised eyebrows, there seemed to be a trace of youthful chivalry. I wouldn't dare. At this moment, when he heard Wang Tianhe's words, the youth lowered his head slightly and answered softly. You wouldn't dare? Wang Tianhe sighed. I know you're still holding back in your heart. You think I shouldn't have given the quota to Taiju, but should have left it to you, right? No. The youth raised his head and looked at Wang Tianhe calmly. Father, actually, you don't think your son is inferior to others, but you're repaying a debt of gratitude. Am I right? At this point, the youth smiled. A real man distinguishes between gratitude and grudges. Father was brought up by his second uncle when he was young. Without second uncle, father would have most likely died long ago. It's only right to repay a debt of gratitude. As long as father doesn't think your son is inferior to others, then it's fine. Even if I can't enter the immortal sect, I can still make a name for myself in the martial world like father. The young man raised his head with a calm expression. Good. As expected of the son of Wang Tianhe, the Sky River Swordsman has a successor. Wang Tianhe stood up with a gratified expression and laughed heartily. Ha! What the hell is the Sky River Swordsman? Li Yu shook his head with a smile. This young man is worthy of being cultivated. He should bear the mandate of heaven. Then I'll bestow upon you an opportunity. Chapter 385. Wang Lin's opportunity to join the Hung Yu sect originally belonged to Huzi. Although Wang Lin's rise was based on the heaven-defying pearl, joining the Hung Yu sect was the root of everything. One is the owner of the heaven-defying pearl, and the other is the owner of destiny. I wonder what kind of trouble you two brothers will cause in the future. I'm really looking forward to it. However, Wang Lin obtained the heaven-defying pearl after being sent back by the Hengyu sect. Old Demon Wang, your heaven-defying pearl isn't in your hands yet. Your brother's heaven-defying pearl will be in his hands first. Liu smiled and left Wang Tian's house in a flash. Now it's time to create the right opportunity. Liu stood in the forest and scanned the forest with his divine sense. He found a target. It was a tiger. As a young man who likes to play with swords and sticks, you've been practicing martial arts for many years, but have never tried it out. You must be eager to try it out. Unfortunately, your father won't give you the chance. Liu turned his head and looked in the direction of Wang Tian's house. He chuckled. 10 years of sharpening a sword, but I've never tried it out. So, I'll give you a chance to try it out. Liu stretched out his hand, and an invisible force pulled the tiger to his side. Ayo, don't be noisy. Just as the tiger was about to roar, Liu flicked his finger and knocked the tiger unconscious. Young hero punches the tiger of Nanshan. This is a very suitable script. Liu smiled and opened the system repository. He glanced inside. Now it's time to create the carrier of the heaven-defying pearl. Ma Yang has a crystal copper in his storage space. It looks crystal clear, but it's actually a kind of metal. It's suitable to create a pearl. The 5-colored light flashed, and a glittering and translucent bead appeared in Liu's hand. The bead was engraved with golden and silver runes, and was shimmering with spiritual light. The heaven-defying pearl has been created, and the script has been created. All that's left is to wait for the show to start. 3 days later, Wang Tianhe went out to deal with some business matters 2 days ago. His nickname was Hu Zi, and his real name was Wang Yu. He practiced martial arts at home, looking forward to the day when he would be able to show off his skills and shock the crowd. Then the opportunity to test his skills came. Tiger. A tiger has appeared in Nanshan. Yes, Wang Sir was almost eaten by a tiger when he was collecting firewood. While Wang Yu was practicing his martial arts, he suddenly heard the villagers talking outside. Tiger? Wang Yu's eyes flashed, and he clenched his fists tightly. Practicing martial arts, in addition to strengthening the body, is naturally to be chivalrous and protect the peace of the region. The young man found a very dignified reason for himself in his heart. Then he took out a strong bow, carried a quiver of arrows on his back, hung a saber on his waist, and picked up a long spear. He stepped out of the house valiantly. Nanshan. Fully armed, Wang Yu went straight to Nanshan Hill. Before long, Wang Yu arrived at the foot of Nanshan Hill. Oh! A tiger's roar came from the mountain. Wang Yu paused and looked up at Nanshan Hill. His face became serious. There really is a tiger. Father always said that before thinking about victory, one must first consider defeat. In the Jianghu, caution is the parent of safety. I can't be reckless. Wang Yu looked around and had an idea. Then he jumped into the forest. Along the way, Wang Yu didn't immediately rush to the tiger's roar. Instead, he kept observing the terrain and set up traps at key points to leave an escape route. After spending about 4 hours, Wang Yu had already chosen a suitable battlefield and prepared various countermeasures. Then, it was time to kill the tiger. Wang Yu hunted a wild deer nearby and cut open the deer's belly with his saber. The deer's blood flowed out, and a strong smell of blood spread out. Wang Yu held his breath and hid in a big tree, waiting for the tiger's arrival. It's really here. Soon after, a slight shaking sound came from the bushes. A tiger about 10 feet long was crouching in the bushes and quietly sneaking over. Holding an arrow in his hand, Wang Yu held his breath and slowly drew the bow. The sharp arrow was aimed at the tiger. Whoosh! When the tiger stepped out of the bushes, the arrow was released and a cold light flew out. Oh! The strong bow and sharp arrow hit the tiger's neck. However, such an arrow didn't kill the tiger. The tiger roared in pain and turned its head to look in the direction of the arrow. Kill! Wang Yu jumped down from the tree, raised the spear in his hand, and stabbed at the tiger fiercely. Puff! The spear went through the tiger's body and nailed it to the ground. Cut! Letting go of the spear, Wang Yu waved his hand and pulled out his saber. The sharp blade broke through the air and cut the tiger's neck in half. It died instantly. Puff! Huff! Leaning on the saber at his waist, Wang Yu panted in exhaustion, and a smile appeared on his face. This tiger skin is quite good. I could take it back and use it as a cushion for Dad. Of course, he had to collect the spoils after killing the tiger. After resting for a while, Wang Yu took out a short saber from his waist and began to skin and bone the prey. What is this? While handling the prey, Wang Yu found a gray bead in the tiger's stomach. This bead looked murky and worthless. It was not much better than a pebble. However, when Wang Yu saw this bead, he found that it was absorbing the tiger's blood, and it was absorbing it faster and faster. In the end, the tiger was only left with a piece of tiger skin and a pile of dry bones. It seemed that the tiger's vitality had been absorbed by this bead. On the bead, a silver rune lit up slightly. What is this? Immortal cultivators were not rare in this world. Wang Yu's father, Wang Tianhe, was a wandering cultivator. Wang Yu had heard his father talk about various immortal legends since he was a child. Seeing the rune lit up and the tiger's flesh and blood dried up, how could Wang Yu not know that he had picked up a treasure? This must be an immortal cultivator's treasure. Wang Yu was ecstatic. He quickly wrapped up the bead and put it in his quiver. This should be the immortal opportunity that my father talked about. I didn't expect to lose the opportunity to enter the Hengyu sect and get an immortal opportunity here. Wang Yu was very happy with this harvest. This bead must be an immortal cultivator's treasure. Even if he couldn't use it, it would be no problem to exchange it for an opportunity to enter the Hengyu sect. Good, the opportunity is in hand, and the tiger hero has been born. Li Yu sat on a rock at the top of the mountain. Seeing this, he nodded with satisfaction. When Wang Yu stepped into Nanshan, Li Yu began to pay attention to him. Seeing his arrangements along the way and seeing him finally kill the tiger, he was very satisfied with Wang Yu's performance. Although it seemed that many of the arrangements didn't work, but this kind of arrangement was indispensable. From these actions, it was clear that Wang Yu was brave and resourceful. He wasn't a hothead who acted recklessly. This kind of temperament was very in line with Li Yu's requirements. After all, Li Yu wanted to find hosts for a long time. If he found a host who went crazy, he might have to collect his corpse in the next minute. Young man, you are the master of destiny. Your destiny is in your own hands. Li Yu smiled and looked up at the sky. Young man, let me disturb this world. Chapter 386. What kind of treasure is this bead? Wang Yu sat on the branch of a big tree in the yard, his back leaning against the trunk. He held a gray bead in his hand and observed it carefully. The gray bead didn't look magical at all. At this moment, even the silver runes that once lit up had disappeared. The entire bead was simply a stone. If he hadn't seen with his own eyes how the bead absorbed the tiger's flesh and blood, he wouldn't have believed it even if someone told him it was a treasure. An immortal's treasure isn't something an ordinary person like me can understand. After looking at it for a long time and finding nothing, Wang Yu sighed and decided to put it away. He would think of a way later. Just as he retracted his hand, a ray of moonlight shone through the leaves and shone on the bead. A sudden change occurred. The moment the moonlight shone on the bead, it seemed to be activated. Buzz! With a slight tremor, the bead in his hand shook violently and flew out of his hand, floating in front of Wang Yu. An inexplicable fluctuation swept across. Between heaven and earth, countless specks of light of different colors fluttered like fireflies and rushed into the bead. There seemed to be a strong suction force on the bead. Even the moonlight in the sky was continuously sucked into the bead. Ding! A melodious sound rang out, and a gorgeous brilliance bloomed from the bead. Celestial music lingered in the air, and it was colorful. In an instant, the gray bead became translucent and sparkling with extraordinary splendor. Lines of gold and silver runes flowed. Celestial clouds lingered, and thousands of auspicious clouds appeared in front of Wang Yu. In the light screen, there were endless majestic immortal palaces, immortals flying in the sky, golden dragons flying in the sky, and phoenixes soaring in the sky. Wang Yu was dumbfounded. After a while, the strange phenomenon disappeared, leaving only a bead floating in front of Wang Yu. It really is an immortal's treasure. I'm rich. I'm really rich now. Wang Yu was wild with joy and reached out to grab the bead. As soon as his fingers touched the bead, it turned into a stream of light and instantly merged into Wang Yu's body, along his arm, and rushed into Wang Yu's mind. Boom! His mind shook violently. Endless multicolored light flowed, and a crystal clear, mysterious pearl emerged from the multicolored light. The precious pearl radiated brilliance in all directions, illuminating heaven and earth. At the beginning of the chaos, heaven and earth separated, and a little spiritual light nurtured divine treasures. The heaven and earth's good fortune has become the mandate of heaven. There are 3,000 treasures, and I am supreme. In his mind, a long song of vicissitudes of time drifted out. An old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion appeared from the bead. Young man, are you the master of destiny? The old man appeared in Wang Yu's mind. He had a gentle smile on his face as he raised his hands in front of his chest and bowed to Wang Yu. Wang Yu was dumbfounded. He had no idea what was going on. Young man, I am the heavenly fate pearl, the first divine light born from the separation of yin and yang at the beginning of the chaos. After being enlightened by Emperor Yu Huang, he became the true body of the pearl of destiny. The old man waved his hand, and the sparkling and translucent pearl appeared in his hand. His Majesty Emperor Yu ordered me to descend to the lower realm in search of the Master of Destiny. I have traversed the 3 realms for hundreds of millions of years, and finally found you. Master of Destiny? Me? Wang Yu opened his mouth wide and pointed at the tip of his nose. He blinked his eyes in disbelief. First, it was the beginning of the primal chaos. Then it was the great Emperor Yu Huang. From the sound of it, this bead seemed to have quite the background. He had indeed encountered a great opportunity. But what was a Master of Destiny? I am the Heavenly Fate Pearl. The Master of the Heavenly Fate Pearl is naturally the Master of Destiny. The old man smiled and replied, The Master of Destiny is the Master of the Heavenly Fate Pearl? Is that what it means? Wang Yu nodded thoughtfully. Since it was called the Heavenly Fate Pearl, this thing must be extraordinary. That I have become a Master of Destiny. What do I have to do? Looking up at the old man, Wang Yu asked doubtfully. I'm the Heavenly Fate Pearl. You are the Master of Destiny. Naturally, you can do whatever you want. The old man still had a gentle smile on his face. I can do whatever I want. Wang Yu was stunned. He was a little surprised. I can do whatever I want. Murder and arson? Rob and rob? That works too. Young man, as the Master of the Heavenly Fate Pearl, how can you do such things? The old man smiled and shook his head. If you want to rob, you have to do it quickly. What's there to rob for ordinary people? Really? Really rob? Wang Yu was dumbfounded. You have such a sage-like and righteous appearance. How can you say such words so confidently? Young man, the cultivation world is a place where the strong prey on the weak. Whoever had the bigger fist would have the right to argue. If you don't rob others, others will rob you. That's true. Wang Yu's father was a wanderer. Naturally, he was not unfamiliar with such things. But he did not expect the world of immortals to be no different from the world of immortals. Then this pearl, what kind of treasure is it? What kind of magical powers does it have? Since he had encountered such a great opportunity, Wang Yu also wanted to know what this Heavenly Fate Pearl could do. There are 3,000 treasures, and I am the king. The old man stroked his beard and smiled. Young man, I can refine anything. There is nothing I cannot do. There is nothing I cannot master in cultivation. There is also a space-time secret realm, which can give you 10 times more time to practice your skills. It can also increase your comprehension, allowing you to understand everything you have learned faster. Omnipotent. Wang Yu opened his mouth and looked at the old man suspiciously. He found it hard to believe. Omnipotent? Isn't this boasting a bit too much? You don't believe me? The old man smiled and looked at Wang Yu. You have a dagger at your waist. How can a piece of ordinary metal be worthy of the identity of the master of the heavenly fate? Just right, I will refine it into a magic weapon for you. The old man's figure rushed out of Wang Yu's mind and appeared in front of him. He waved his hand, and the dagger at Wang Yu's waist flew up and floated in midair. "Look carefully," the old man called out and waved his hand, scattering a five-colored brilliance. With a flash of light, a silver dagger that was about a foot long appeared in the air. It was glittering with a cold light. "Try it." The old man waved his hand, and the dagger fell into Wang Yu's hand. This dagger, looking at the cold dagger in his hand, Wang Yu's heart tightened. He took out a piece of silver from his chest and gently sliced it with the dagger. Like cutting tofu, the silver was cut in half. Cutting through metal like mud? Good sword. Seeing the dagger in his hand, Wang Yu was overjoyed. His father was from the Jianghu, so Wang Yu was no stranger to treasured swords and sabers. The dagger in his hand was much stronger than the Milky Way saber that his father had spent a lot of money to buy. The heavenly fate pearl is indeed extraordinary. Wang Yu knew that he had encountered a great opportunity. With such a treasure in hand, I can also become an immortal in the future. I can also cultivate immortality. Wang Yu greets Senior. Now that he had confirmed that this was an immortal opportunity, Wang Yu began to accept this so-called master of the heavenly fate pearl. "I'm the weapon spirit of the heavenly fate pearl. I call myself the spirit of the heavenly fate. From now on, I will help you become an immortal and reach the peak of this world." Become an immortal and reach the peak of this world? Thank you, Senior Heavenly Fate Pearl. Wang Yu's heart was burning with passion. He cupped his hands and thanked him seriously. "It's finally done." Li Yu saw this and nodded with a smile. "Very good. Another young man has been fooled." Chapter 387. Senior Destiny. How should I cultivate? Back in the room, Wang Yu could not wait to ask the Destiny Pearl. This young man who likes to play with spears is full of curiosity and interest towards cultivation. To cultivate, you must first have the aptitude for cultivation. The Destiny Pearl appeared in front of Wang Yu and looked at him with a smile. "Although you have some aptitude, this aptitude is extremely poor. It is almost the same as having no aptitude at all." Then, Hearing this news, Wang Yu's face fell and his heart was very depressed. "Hey, kid, why are you in such a hurry? With this old man here, you can have whatever aptitude you want. In this world, the cultivation aptitude is also the spiritual root. Li Yu has already thoroughly analyzed the spiritual root. He can really create whatever aptitude you want." This is great. This is great. Thank you, Senior Destiny. Thank you, Senior Destiny." Wang Yu could not help but bow to the Destiny Pearl to express his gratitude. "I see that your aptitude also has the shadow of an ice spiritual root. Let this old man create an ice spiritual root for you." He stretched out his hand, and a cold light appeared in his hand. "Kid, bear with it." The Destiny Pearl smiled and pointed his finger. The cold light instantly entered Wang Yu's body. Ugh! Wang Yu let out a muffled groan as his entire body trembled violently. An ice-cold aura filled the air, and a white mist rose up in the room. Not long after, the white fog dissipated and Wang Yu's figure reappeared. At this time, Wang Yu's appearance did not change, but his temperament became cold. A pair of dark eyes revealed a chill that made people's heart tremble. "Not bad. You already have an ice spiritual root." The Destiny Pearl nodded at Wang Yu. "Kid, you now have the top aptitude for cultivation. I also gave you a short sword. Go hunting in the mountains." "Hunting?" Wang Yu was stunned. "Senior Destiny, shouldn't I seize the time to cultivate? Why should I go hunting?" Hee. Cultivation is going against the heavens, seizing the fortune of heaven and earth, seizing the spiritual energy of all things to achieve oneself. What is the Master of Destiny? The Master of Destiny is the Master of Destiny in his own hands. The Spirit of Destiny chuckled. "Cultivate? How could cultivation be faster than plundering? What was the point of cultivating chi? Let's just snatch it. Rob, you can even snatch his cultivation?" Wang Yu was scared out of his wits. This old man can refine anything and is omnipotent. As long as you want to snatch, what can't you snatch? The mandate of heaven's spirit proudly raised its head. I see. Wang Yu grabbed the silver light dagger and jumped off the bed. Then let's go rob. Oh no, let's go hunt. Under the guidance of the heavens will spirit. Wang Yu left his house and entered the vast forest. All right, another young man has embarked on the path of no return of killing monsters to level up. Li Yu smiled and nodded. Kid, it's not that I don't want to take the right path, but the problem is that it takes too long. I don't have the patience to wait for you for thousands of years. If you don't hurry up and improve your cultivation, you won't be able to do anything. Looking up at the sky, Li Yu's lips curled into a cold smile. This cave world was also created by someone else. There's also a mastermind who wants to raise billions of living beings as livestock. Thinking of Annette in the origin world, Li Yu's eyes turned cold. Very good. This world is just right for me to practice. Let's overturn this cavern world first. Although Li Yu could kill the so-called mastermind behind this world with one slap if he went to their door. Since he wanted to practice, he had to play slowly. After making up his mind, Li Yu took out the eternal immortal mansion and threw it into the cliff on the side of the mountain. If I want to conquer the heavens and overturn this world, patience is essential. Then let's wait patiently. Waving his hand, Li Yu broke through the void and walked into the eternal immortal mansion. He sat down in the main hall and waited patiently for the chess pieces to get into position step by step, waiting for the right time to intervene. Time passed day by day as he waited. A month later, Wang Lin set foot on the Hung Yu Sect's mountain gate and began the entrance test. Extremely poor aptitude, unqualified, tenacious and indomitable mind, but the great Tao is ruthless. You have exceeded the time limit. Unable to sense the sword's spirit, unqualified. Wang Lin failed 3 times in a row. The first time was the aptitude test, and Wang Lin was directly eliminated. The second time was the willpower test. Even though Wang Lin was covered in wounds and tottering on the verge of collapse, he persevered and reached the top of the mountain. But he had exceeded the time limit. The third time was the sword's spirit sensing. Even if one didn't have the aptitude, as long as they could sense the flying sword, they could become the sect's guardian swordsman. But Wang Lin also failed. I said you can't do it, right? You want to enter the immortal sect. Qinshui Wang, you said your son entered the immortal sect, so I agreed to the marriage. Now, he has been sent back by the immortals of the Hung Yu sect. I can't send my daughter into the fire pit. Break off the engagement. Qinshui Wang, a few days ago, you held a banquet to celebrate your son's entry into the immortal sect. What's wrong? Now you're making a fool of yourself, right? I told you he can't do it, right? Taiju is obviously a bookworm. How can he be an immortal? People still have to rely on their lives. Even if you're lucky, you can't afford it without your life. Failing the test and being sent back by the Hung Yu sect, Wang Lin kept hearing these taunts. I must become an immortal. Wang Lin silently lowered his head and clenched his fists tightly. That night, Wang Lin left a letter, picked up his bag, and walked out of the house. He once again rushed to the Hung Yu sect. I was only half a quarter of an hour late in the second test. This time, I must pass the test. Wang Lin took it for granted that he was only half a quarter of an hour late, which was why he failed. But he didn't know that the first test was the most important, and the next 2 tests were meaningless. When Wang Lin climbed over the mountains, and the Hung Yu sect gate was in sight. A tiger's roar shook the mountain forest, and a white tiger rushed out of the forest and pounced on Wang Lin. Ouch! Wang Lin was shocked and turned around to run. In his panic, Wang Lin missed a step and fell off a cliff, landing in a cave with a strange suction force. Bang! A bird that was flying through the air was disrupted by the strange suction force of the cave. It fell down and died beside Wang Lin. Then, Wang Lin found a stone bead in the bird's stomach. This was the heaven-defying bead. What? Taiju is gone. Over the past month, Wang Yu had been fighting monsters in the surrounding mountains and forests to level up. He had used his heavenly fate bead to refine all kinds of beasts, strange beasts, and absorb chi, blood, and spiritual energy. So far, Although Wang Yu's appearance didn't change, his body was full of qi and blood, and his muscles and bones were strong. More importantly, he had cultivated spiritual energy and officially stepped into the first level of qi condensation, becoming a real cultivator. Today, the spirit of destiny told him that the path of civil and martial arts is one of tension and one of relaxation. So, Wang Yu returned home. He didn't expect to hear that Wang Lin was missing as soon as he got home. Senior Tianming, could you please, after a month of being together, Wang Yu had really seen the omnipotence of the heavenly fate bead. He relied on this bead very much. What's so difficult about that? The spirit of destiny pretended to calculate with his fingers and instantly pointed out Wang Lin's location. Of course, the heavenly fate bead didn't have the ability to calculate the past and future. However, Li Yu, who had been paying attention to this matter for a long time, naturally wouldn't miss such a crucial point. He fell off a cliff. Seeing the location shown by the heavenly fate bead, Wang Yu frowned. With Tieju's personality, he wouldn't commit suicide. What's going on? Wang Yu hurried out of the house and rushed to the location shown by the heavenly fate bead. So, the master of the heavenly fate bead and the master of the heaven-defying bead officially met. Chapter 388. Taiju, what happened to you? When Wang Yu arrived at the bottom of the cliff, he saw Wang Lin, who was covered in wounds, at the bottom of the cliff. Wang Yu hurriedly ran over and helped Wang Lin up. Taiju, why are you here? Seeing Wang Yu's arrival, Wang Lin was clearly stunned. Didn't this cousin of his who liked to play with swords and sabers usually practice martial arts at home? What happened today? Wang Lin immediately understood what was going on. The family is looking for me. Of course they're looking for you. Second uncle is going crazy with worry. My father has already asked the cultivators of the Hongyu sect for help. Wang Yu glared at Wang Lin. I say, Taiju, what are you doing? Didn't you just fail the entrance test? I don't believe you're trying to kill yourself. It's a long story. Wang Lin shook his head with a wry smile. I was chased down by a tiger. Do you believe it? Yes, there are indeed tigers here. During this time, Wang Yu had been wandering around the forest and knew that Wang Lin was telling the truth. At this time, Li Yu, who had been paying attention to this matter, began to act. System, connect to the heavenly fate pearl and scan Wang Lin's heaven-defying pearl. The heaven-defying pearl was a part of the strongest treasure in this world, the boundary compass. It was mysterious and powerful. This pearl was very valuable and worthy of Li Yu's research. More importantly, there were two old grandpas hiding in the pearl right now. One was Situ Nan, the second-generation vermilion bird, first-step ascendant cultivator. The other was the sovereign of the sealed realm, third-step void tribulation cultivator. The cultivation realms in this world were very special. The first step was from chi refinement to ascendant. The second step was nirvana, the third step was void, and the fourth step was heaven treading. Legend had it that the fifth step was boundless and the sixth step was Taoist. However, this was only a legend. No one knew whether it really existed or not. In this world, the fourth step was heaven treading. The sovereign of the sealed realm, who was about to reach the peak of the third step, could be considered a big shot. You have two grandpas with you. Not bad. Li Yu smiled. Situ Nan and the paragon of sealed realm, their memories, knowledge, and comprehension were all worth studying. After the heaven-defying bead finished scanning, Li Yu turned his attention to the two grandpas. System, scan Situ, Nan, and Sovereign of Sealed Realm. Copy their memories and record them into the resource vault. A formless ripple swept across. Li Yu had already made a complete copy of old Demon Wang's heaven-defying bead. A void destroyer grade true treasure. A part of it is not bad. Li Yu shook his head and focused on the memories of the two. Netherworld Ascension Technique. This technique could actually allow one to cultivate to the extreme realm. Although the cultivation method is somewhat incomplete, the system can deduce it completely. In this world, there were three special realms of spiritual energy: extremity, Tao, and beginning. Extremity, the extremity of everything. It represented the end of the world, the end of death. Tao represented the grand Tao of heaven and earth. It was a realm that cultivators yearned for even in their dreams. Beginning was the opposite of extremity. It represented the beginning of all things and the beginning of life. Beginning and extremity, life and death. This thing seems to be very compatible with my Xianwang Qi. Liu's Xianwang Qi was the mother of all things. It was the origin of all things and the final destination of all things. After coming to this world, Liu's goal was to fuse his soul and Qi cultivation into one. This kind of cultivation method was naturally worth studying. The sovereign of the sealed realm's memories are even more extraordinary. From the beginning of Qi cultivation to the third step of void tribulate, all of his comprehension is very complete. All kinds of spells and abilities are also very complete. With this foundation, Liu would be able to completely analyze the cultivation path of this world. Another important point was that with the memories of these two people, Liu could be considered to have grasped most of the map of the cave world. At least in the cave world, there would be no problem of not knowing where to go in the future. Very good. Liu nodded and said, "System, send a copy of their memories to my heavenly fate pearl. With these things, it should be enough to trick that kid Wang Yu until the end of time." Situ Nan's peerless talent? The sovereign of the sealed realm also has a body of laws. Liu suddenly saw the part about talent that the system had sorted out and looked at it in surprise. I thought that giving Wang Yu an ice spirit root talent was already amazing. I didn't expect that there is no such thing as heaven-defying talent, only more heaven-defying. If the immortal body, ancient Tao immortal body, and the immortal ancient immortal body were included, then it would be even more frightening. No, Wang Yu's talent is still too bad. When he gains something, I'll let the Destiny Pearl make him a 5-element spirit body, mysterious ice spirit body, or other body of laws. After making up his mind, Liu no longer distracted and began to seriously analyze and sort out the memories and insights of the two. Under the cliff, Wang Yu supported Wang Lin and walked out step by step. Whoosh! At this time, an escape light whistled through the sky. Taizhu! Taizhu! Where are you? In the escape light, a green-robed cultivator flew on a sword with Wang Lin's father, Wang Tianshui, under his arm. Father? Father, I'm here. Hearing his father's voice, Wang Lin hurriedly answered loudly. Over there. The escape light turned and instantly landed in front of the two. Taizhu! Who's Z? Why are you here? Wang Tianshui landed on the ground and anxiously ran toward Wang Lin, only to see Wang Yu supporting Wang Lin in front of him. Wang Yu touched his head. Didn't I hear that Taizhu disappeared? I came out to look for him. I didn't expect to really meet him. Good boy. Thank you. Wang Tianshui praised, then pulled Wang Lin over. Taizhu, why did you take things so hard? If something happened to you, how could we live? Wang Lin froze for a moment, then immediately understood that his father thought he couldn't take it anymore and committed suicide. Okay, since you found him, then I will take you back to the sect to report. This matter caused a lot of trouble, so the sect elders have to make a decision. The green-robed cultivator didn't give them time to speak. He waved his hand and scattered a spirit light, which directly rolled up Wang Lin, Wang Yu, and Wang Lin and whistled through the sky. Wang Yu was shocked. He didn't expect that he would also be rolled up. Although Wang Yu also had some cultivation, he was still far inferior to this cultivator, so he didn't resist and let him be taken out. Soon after, Wang Yu and the others landed in a hall of the Hung Yu sect. Leave him here? What nonsense! In the future, if all the unqualified people commit suicide, do we still have to leave him here? What a scandal! The Wang family is also a prominent local family. They have a lot of filial piety every year, so it's only right to take care of them. As soon as he landed, Wang Yu heard a few elders discussing in the main hall. They seemed to be discussing how to deal with Wang Lin. Didn't the Wang family already have 2 disciples? As long as they have one more with outstanding aptitude, it's fine to accept that kid. At this time, a dark-faced cultivator was refuting. Suddenly, he saw Wang Yu standing next to Wang Lin and couldn't help but tremble. You Senior brother Huang Long, look. Look. He, this aura, could it be an ice spiritual root? A pure ice spiritual root? A spiritual root. All the cultivators in the hall jumped up in shock and surrounded Wang Yu. This old man is Huang Long, the Hung Yu sect master. A purple-robed old man came forward with a smile and asked Wang Yu, "Young man, are you also a disciple of the Wang family? Are you willing to join our Hung Yu sect?" Join the Hung Yu sect? Wang Yu was shocked and was about to refuse, but he heard the spirit of destiny asking him to agree. Can my brother Tai Zhu also join? If brother Tai Zhu doesn't join, then I won't come. Wang Yu looked at Wang Lin and said to Huang Long Tai Zhu, "Oh, Wang Lin can join. You are all disciples of our Hung Yu sect." Reverend Huang Long agreed without hesitation. In this way, Wang Yu and Wang Lin joined the Hung Yu sect together. Chapter 389. Huzi, am I very useless? In the Hung Yu sect's dormitory, Wang Lin sat at the table and looked at Wang Yu with a bitter smile. I took up your spot, but in the end, I still have to rely on you to enter the sect. Brother Taiju, what are you talking about? Wang Yu glared at Wang Lin. Don't be discouraged. Cultivation is probably the same as martial arts. It's all about perseverance. I'm not discouraged. Wang Lin nodded firmly. Since I've entered the sect, I'll definitely seize this opportunity. I don't believe I can't make a name for myself. Let's work hard together. Work hard. Filled with longing for the future, the two youths officially stepped into the cultivation world. Very good. The host is on the right track. Liu nodded when he saw the report from the Heavenly Mandate Pearl. Everything is going according to plan. Now I have to busy myself with my own matters. Liu stepped out of the cave abode and looked up at the starry sky. I hope the seven-color realm has what I need. Many years in the future, in order to find a way to resurrect his wife, old demon Wang sent his clone back to the past with the ability to trace back time. Thus, the past of this world was changed by this clone named Inkslayer. As a result, the immortal ancestor and the primeval ancestor, two existences with shocking cultivation, thought this world was an illusion. This was because they discovered that the past they'd experienced had suddenly changed one day. Two existences at the ninth bridge of heaven treading, about to take the last step and reach the peak of the world. Their Tao hearts were shaken. They began to doubt the reality of this world. Everything was just a dream of Wang Lin's? This world didn't exist? Was this world evolved from Wang Lin's dream Tao technique? In order to prove that they existed and that they weren't someone else's dream, the two of them used their deaths to prove their Tao hearts and the truth. Just like that, it was a tragedy. Of course, this wasn't the main point. Wang Lin's future clone, Inkslayer, turned this world into a mess in order to research a way to resurrect his wife. Liu smiled and looked in the direction of the Hung Yu sect. Old Demon Wang, the current you would never have thought that this world has already been ruined by you, right? All of this was because old Demon Wang had found a wife in the future, but because he was focused on cultivation, he didn't have time to accompany her. By the time he wanted to accompany his wife, she was already on the verge of death. Despite all his efforts, his wife was still dead. Then, in order to revive his wife, old Demon Wang destroyed the entire world. So, no matter how busy you are, you have to make time to accompany your wife. Look, old Demon Wang doesn't accompany his wife. Isn't he miserable? Liu rubbed his chin and shook his head with a smile. All right, I don't have a wife yet. Of course, Liu wasn't concerned about this. Lin Mo created a small world called the Seven-Colored Realm. He's researching a way to revive his wife. He had researched the heaven-defying pearl and created countless fake heaven-defying pearls. More importantly, he left behind his own cultivation insights. Wang Lin's doppelganger, Lin Mo, had already crossed the heaven-treading bridge and ascended to the top of the world. Naturally, the insights he left behind were worthy of Liu's reference. The Tao Scripture and the Tribulation Scripture. One cultivation technique, two paths. Transcending the immeasurable tribulation. The Tribulation Scripture of true cultivation. Forming a Tao of its own. The Tao Scripture of true cultivation. This thing is very valuable to me. Li Yu's goal in coming to this world was to find a way to fuse his divine soul cultivation and qi refinement cultivation. The first step of cultivation in this world was qi refinement, and the rest was Tao enlightenment and spirit refinement. This path was very useful for Li Yu to fuse his divine soul power and heaven and earth qi. The old grandpa in the heaven-defying pearl is the lord of the sealed realm. He's been in control of the inner realm for countless years. Naturally, he knows about the existence of the seven-colored realm. Li Yu smiled as he looked at the sky. System, retrieve the location of the seven-colored realm and send it to me. The system immediately sent the location of the seven-colored realm to him. Then let's go see the top power of this world. Li Yu stretched out his hand and pulled at the void in front of him. Glazed light shone as he used the power of space to open a space tunnel to the seven-colored realm. He took a step forward and the world changed. This was a strange world. The entire world was filled with seven-colored light, illuminating everything in the world with a colorful luster. The sky was wide, and there were mountains and rivers. However, the entire world was filled with endless fog. The faint roars of beasts could be heard in the fog. Of course, the fog could not block Li Yu's divine soul. There was a vast plain under his feet, and, in the distance, there was a continuous range of mountains. All kinds of huge and violent beasts roared as they shuttled back and forth. Is this only the periphery of the seven-colored realm? Li Yu nodded and stepped into the fog. He walked toward the center of the seven-colored realm. Roar! As soon as he stepped into the thick fog, a loud roar of a beast resounded. A nearly 1,000-foot-long dragon-shaped beast broke through the air, opened its huge mouth, and bit down on Li Yu. Umph! Li Yu frowned and let out a cold snort. Monstrous light shined, and a powerful aura surged into the sky. Woo-woo! The dragon-shaped beast was so scared by this aura that its body went soft. It fell to the ground and buried its head as it trembled. A rank 12 beast. Its strength is equivalent to a cultivator at the peak of the second step. With the Lord of the Sealed Realm's memories, Li Yu was able to determine the strength of this dragon-shaped beast. A rank 12 beast was equivalent to a late-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. On planet Suzaku, this kind of power was enough to crush a planet with a single claw. Since I've encountered it, let's replenish the system's energy. Reaching out with his hand, the Grand Vacuum Capture transformed into a giant palm and grabbed the trembling dragon-shaped ferocious beast. Then, he casually put it into the resource vault. After putting away the dragon-shaped beast, Li Yu continued forward. He released his aura, and it was as powerful as the heavens might. All the fierce beasts avoided him, and he was not disturbed again. Li Yu, who was flying through the air, suddenly stopped and looked down at a skeleton on the ground. This skeleton had been dead for many years, and even its flesh and bones had weathered away. Inside the skeleton, there was a pill that gave off a seven-colored light. Only a small portion of this pill remained, and the fragrance it gave off was very weak. However, Li Yu felt a strange feeling from this medicinal fragrance. There was an aura of the cycle of time and the reincarnation of life. Reincarnation pill? Comparing it to the Lord of the Sealed Realm's memories, Li Yu was able to identify the origin of this pill. Reincarnation pill. This pill had an unfathomable power. It could allow one's soul to enter a dream and experience 100 reincarnations to comprehend the Tao of life and death. The Tao of reincarnation? This thing has a lot of reference value. Li Yu's mysterious yellow energy was the beginning and end of all things. The cycle of life and death was created by the mysterious yellow energy. It was very suitable for Li Yu's path. Although there's only a little left, it's enough. As long as there was a sample, the system could analyze the complete reincarnation pill. Li Yu waved his hand and put the remaining reincarnation pill into the resource warehouse. There's a jade slip under the skeleton. Li Yu's soul swept across the skeleton and found that there was a jade slip half buried in the ground. He stretched out his hand and took the jade slip into his hand. With a touch of his soul, he read the information in the jade slip. There was only one sentence in the jade slip. Enlightened, imprison the Tao of the heavens. All living beings need to transcend immeasurable tribulations. Leaving the deep prison is just an obsession. Follow the path of cultivation. This is the Tao scripture. Liu raised his eyebrows. Obsession with cultivation? Although this method is extreme, it's unique. Just a single sentence has given me some insights. Looking up at the depths of the seven-colored realm, Liu is even more interested in the full text of the Tao scripture. Chapter 390. He flew through the air unimpeded. Not long after, Liu had no choice but to stop. There was a huge mountain range in front of him. There was actually a huge formation set up on this mountain range. This formation, Liu scanned with his soul and found that the formation that blocked the path ahead was very interesting. To pass through this formation, one must take 10 steps. However, with every step, the power of the formation will increase by 10,000 times. Under the huge pressure, if a cultivator's body is not extremely strong, his body will collapse after taking 3 or 4 steps. According to the memories of the sovereign of the sealed realm, Liu knew the origin of this formation. Ancient strange formation, 9 steps to seal the heavens. It said that even the heavens can only take 9 steps. This is really interesting. He asked the system to scan a copy of this formation and store it in the resource vault. With a flick of his sleeve, Liu stepped into the grand formation in a leisurely manner. With one step, a huge pressure enveloped his entire body, as if the gravity on his body had increased by thousands of times. It does have some skills. However, I have a greater mastery of the innate saint body. This heaven-sealing formation can't seal me. Liu smiled and walked forward with ease. With every step he took, the pressure on his body increased by 10,000 times. However, to Liu, who had a greater mastery of the innate saint body, this pressure was nothing. Effortlessly, Liu took 10 steps forward and crossed the heaven-sealing grand formation. In the future, this formation could be used to trick people. Oh no, it can be used to test people. It's really suitable. He had created a supreme treasure, a divine artifact, and then set up such a great array. It would be very fun to let them see the supreme treasure in front of them, but not be able to get it. After passing through the heaven-sealing formation, a few wandering figures appeared in front of him. These people were dressed in gray robes, and their heads were smooth without a single strand of hair. Their bodies were like translucent crystals, and even their flesh and bones were clearly visible. Enlightened, imprison the Tao of the heavens. All living beings need to transcend immeasurable tribulations. It's just a thought to leave the deep prison. These silhouettes had lifeless gazes, their eyes filled with confusion, as if they were the living dead, wandering around. As he walked, he muttered lines of Taoist scriptures. So it's a beguiled one. With a glance, Liu immediately understood the identity of these people and could not help but sigh. Lin Mo had left behind a Tao scripture in the seven-colored realm. However, this scripture was the comprehension of the heaven-treading stage, the pinnacle of power in this world. For countless years, the cultivators who entered the seven-colored realm had seen this mysterious scripture. However, because their cultivation levels were insufficient, they were affected by the scripture and lost their own Tao. Then, this place was used by the sovereign and the others. He collected the scattered Tao of this place and turned the seven-colored realm into a part of the Tao planting ground. Infatuated people are a bunch of pitiful people. Liu shook his head. This was the most insignificant part of the impact that Slayer had on the world. Compared to the immortal ancestor and the ancient ancestor, who had been innocently implicated, these people had brought this upon themselves. Ignoring these beguiled one, Liu flew through the air and soon arrived in front of a small black mountain in the center of the seven-colored realm. The previous part was the outer world of the seven-colored realm. I only entered the inner world after passing through this black mountain. When he landed in front of the small black mountain, Liu discovered that the mountain was not really black, but was enveloped in a pitch-black light screen. A restriction? This is one of the 4 great ancient divine restrictions, the temporal restriction. Liu's eyes narrowed as his interest was piqued. System, scan the temporal restriction, the annihilation restriction, the life and death restriction, the ancient soul restriction, and the temporal restriction were the four great ancient divine restrictions. They were the pinnacle of restriction techniques in this world. Liu naturally could not let go of such a thing. With the information collected from the memories of the sovereign of the sealed realm as a foundation, it did not take long for the system to completely scan and analyze the temporal restriction. The temporal restriction actually contains the power of time. This was the first time Liu had encountered a restriction that could use the power of time. He was even more interested in this temporal restriction. The power of time. Liu stood with his hands behind his back and nodded with a smile. He had dabbled in the Tao of time for a long time. The infinite scriptures, all things return to nothing, and all things begin. The great Zen temple's past, present, and future scriptures, the most high paths universe scriptures, and the heavenly fiend God slaughtering strategies instant eternal Tao were all related to the power of time. An instant is an eternity. With a wave of his hand, a stream of light swept across the pitch-black light screen of the temporal restriction. The entire light screen paused for a moment. This moment was enough. Liu stepped forward and instantly passed through the black light screen of the temporal restriction. After passing through the temporal restriction, another world appeared in front of him. It seemed that the temporal restriction had isolated a part of the seven-colored realm. This so-called inner world was not too big. Compared to the vast outer world, the inner world was much smaller. In front of him was a mountain. At the top of the mountain, there was a small altar. In the middle of the mountain, there was a stone door. From behind the stone door, there was a faint spiritual fluctuation with the roar of a ferocious beast. The altar at the top of the mountain is the entrance to the core of the seven-colored realm. Liu leaped up and landed on the altar. He looked up at the sky. There was a seven-colored ball of light, hanging high in the sky like the sun. Is that where Lin Mo is studying the heaven-defying bead? Liu nodded and waved his hand to release a stream of heaven and earth chi to activate the altar below. Buzz! The seven-colored ball of light shook violently and burst in a brilliant light. A stream of seven-colored light fell and turned into a rainbow bridge, connecting to the seven-colored ball of light above his head. Liu stepped onto the rainbow bridge. His figure flashed across and entered the colorful light cluster. In the seven-colored ball of light, there was a seven-colored whirlpool. There's another layer of space. Liu glanced around and took a step forward, walking into the seven-colored whirlpool. This was a floating platform-like square, surrounded by endless seven-colored light. In the middle of the dazzling seven-colored light, a stone tablet that was tens of thousands of feet tall stood in the middle of the platform. The stone tablet was surrounded by seven-colored light. An incomparably powerful aura was released, as if it was above the heavens and the earth. It gave birth to a pressure that made all living beings bow down to it. Make all living beings bow down to it? Ha! Liu smiled. It had always been others who bowed down to him. It would be a joke if he bowed down to others. In all the worlds, only I am the best. He released his martial will and dispersed the aura. Liu slowly walked toward the seven-colored stone tablet. Below the stone tablet, there was half a pitch-black skeleton. This skeleton only had its upper body. A pair of seven-colored stone nails pierced through its arms, nailing it tightly to the stone tablet. There were countless tiny words carved on the skeleton. The words were densely packed and covered the skeleton. Mysterious light shone on the words, mysterious and unfathomable. What was even more shocking was that there was a mysterious formation carved on the ground below the skeleton. In the center of the formation, there was a jade bottle below the spine of the skeleton. Ding dong! Drops of liquid that were as black as ink dripped from the spine of the skeleton into the jade bottle below. Sigh, this is really... Seeing this scene, Liu sighed and shook his head, feeling a wave of emotion in his heart. Chapter 391. This liquid is Tao marrow. Liu shook his head when he saw the liquid dripping from the skeleton. Using the Tao scripture, he gathered the lost Tao of the lost and turned it into Tao marrow. This so-called Tao marrow was formed from the Tao rhymes that countless cultivators comprehended throughout their lives. Compared to the 7 Tao flowers in the Tao planting ground, which have been absorbing the cultivation insights of all the living beings who died in the realm sealing formation since ancient times, this is nothing. This bit of Tao essence is nothing. Liu shook his head. I won't use the Tao marrow, but I can still refer to the insights contained in it. System, scan the Tao scripture on the skeleton and record it in the resource vault. Scan the Tao marrow in the jade bottle and record it in the resource vault. An invisible wave swept across and recorded the Tao scripture engraved on the skeleton and the Tao rhymes contained in the Tao marrow into the resource vault. How about the Tao scripture? The main harvest of the 7-colored realm is now in my hands. Liu's figure flashed and flew out of the 7-colored light ball, returning to the altar on the mountain peak. There are still many beast souls in the stone door halfway up the mountain. Beast souls at the peak of the 2nd step still have a lot of soul power, so I can't waste it. More importantly, Liu leaped up and instantly appeared in front of the stone door halfway up the mountain. He waved his hand and slapped out. Boom! With a loud explosion, the huge stone door exploded into pieces. Roar, roar! Pitch-black fog billowed from within the stone door. Beast roars that shook one's heart rang out, and the shadows of ferocious beasts with ferocious faces appeared in the black fog. A ferocious and violent aura rushed out. There are quite a lot of beast souls. Li smiled and pointed. Heaven and earth essence chi, listen to my command. Imprison. The heaven and earth essence chi in the surroundings shook violently and instantly froze like ice. Before the beast soul could rush out of the stone door, it was imprisoned. Collect. With a flick of his sleeve, an invisible wave swept out and directly collected the thousands of beast souls sealed in the stone door into the resource vault. You're actually still not moving? After collecting the beast souls, Liu glanced at an inconspicuous mountain in the distance, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. These beast souls are also items used to refine Tao marrow, yet they still refuse to show themselves after I've taken them. If you don't come to me, I'll come to you. Liu flicked his sleeves and took to the air, heading towards the inconspicuous mountain peak. In Liu's senses, a white-haired old man in white robes stared at a bronze mirror in front of him with suspicion and panic. He seemed to be observing Liu through the mirror. The 7-colored realm is also one of the sources of the Tao runes of the Tao Seedland. This white-haired old man is the guardian of this place. This person was just a subordinate of a Tao master from the Archean star field outside the sealed realm of the cavern world. Although his strength was also at the peak of the 2nd step, Liu naturally didn't care about this bit of strength. However, this person's origin was a bit special. He had the bloodline of the ancient sealing extermination clan. In the ancient era, there was a clan that had the power to seal the heavens. Legend had it that the people of this clan had the talent to seal all life. Sealing all life's bloodline talent. Liu was a bit interested in this. You're still not coming out? Do you want me to make a move? Liu's eyes narrowed. He frowned as he looked at the cave and let out a cold snort. Boom! Inside the cave, the bronze mirror before the white-haired old man suddenly shattered. A powerful impact spread out and knocked the white-haired old man back. He slammed into the wall of the cave, causing the entire cave to tremble violently. Celestial Sovereign, please calm down. The white-haired old man's face was filled with horror, and he quickly flew out of the cave. He panicked and bowed at Liu. Celestial Sovereign, this little one is a subordinate of Tao Master Blue Dream. Tao Master Blue Dream? A smile appeared on Liu's face. So what? Great vacuum capture. The giant palm covered the sky, and the vast power was heaven-shaking. The white-haired old man didn't even have time to react before he was caught by Liu. Collect. An invisible ripple swept by, and the white-haired old man was taken into the resource vault. System, scan this person's memory and record it into the resource vault. Extract some of the sealing extermination clan's bloodline from this person and use it as a specimen. Liu didn't plan to directly kill this white-haired old man. This seven-colored realm was a chance for Wang Lin in the future. Even the Dao seed land that connected to the seven-colored realm was a chance for Wang Lin. Things that were useful to Wang Lin were useless to Li Yu. Li Yu only needed to collect the things he was interested in. There was no need to ruin old demon Wang's future. The white-haired old man's memory allowed Li Yu to understand the ancient star system outside the realm sealing formation. With these memories, Li Yu basically had a map of the cave world. Whether it was for himself or if he used the heavenly fate bead to trick Wang Yu, it would be very useful. There's a spirit-controlling print in this person's memory. Although this spirit-controlling print was incomplete, its origin was extraordinary. It was a spell from the Celestial Emperor 8 Extreme Empyrean Liandaojian. This thing is worth studying. It should be useful to fuse the Battle Saint technique into the spirit-controlling print. After dealing with his harvest, Li Yu looked at the seven-colored realm and smiled. These are all the things that are useful to me. The rest will be up to those who come later. Li Yu already knew the path to the Dao seed land from the white-haired old man's memory. Li Yu was very interested in learning about the 7 flowers in the Dao seed land. System erased the white-haired old man's memory of today and put him to sleep. He reached out and took out the old man from the ceiling extermination clan. He casually threw him into the cave inside the mountain. As long as this person didn't die, Dao Master Blue Dream wouldn't pay attention to this place, and everything would develop normally. Let's go see the Dao seed land now. According to the memories of the old man from the ceiling extermination clan, Li Yu stepped out and arrived at a mountain. There was a cave at the top of the mountain that led to the Dao seed land. After entering the cave, there was red magma inside. There was an inexplicable aura above the magma, as if countless souls were howling. The Dao seed land is behind the void. Li Yu glanced into the lava and discovered a passageway that connected to the Dao planting ground. Then let's go take a look. With a wave of his hand, Li Yu opened up a spatial passageway. With a single step, he arrived in an unfamiliar starry sky. This was a vast starry sky. Countless stars were spread out, enough to form a boundless array formation. Arranging the stars as a formation, good method. Li Yu stood in the void and glanced at the boundless starry sky array. Even with Li Yu's knowledge, he was amazed by this method. Is that the 7-colored Dao flower? There were 7 flowers of different colors floating at the center of the formation. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, purple. Each flower was a different color, and when combined, it was 7 colors. Chapter 392. This starry sky array actually encompasses the entire realm sealing array. Li Yu discovered that the entire starry sky array was built on top of the sealed realm array. It was one with the sealed realm array. Under the cosmic formation, the Taoist rhymes of every cultivator who died in the realm sealing formation would be absorbed into the formation and become nutrients for the flowers. That's a lot of work. He didn't know how long the formation had been set up and how many cultivators' Taoist rhymes have been absorbed since the ancient times. All right, I have to admit that I'm impressed by this method. Li Yu stepped forward and instantly arrived near the 7 flowers at the center of the cosmic formation. The 7 flowers of different colors were like lotuses floating in the water. Waves of inexplicable Taoist rhymes emanated from the flowers. The 7-colored halos rippled faintly, as if they had become one with heaven and earth. Since the ancient times, the Taoist rhymes of every cultivator who died in the realm sealing formation were integrated into these 7 flowers. How many insights are stored in them? Li Yu clicked his tongue in admiration. Coming up with such a method to ascend to heaven ascension was a different approach. If a 3rd-step cultivator wanted to reach the 4th step or even cross the heaven-treading 9 bridges, they would still need their own insights. It was hard to say whether this kind of method of borrowing the chicken to lay eggs would succeed, but this thing is good as a reference. Li Yu was looking for an opportunity to combine his soul cultivation and qi refinement cultivation. The Taoist rhymes of the 7 flowers were perfect for reference. Since the ancient times, the 7-colored flowers had collected the Taoist rhymes of countless cultivators. There were as many as the stars in the sky and as vast as the sea. With these, Liu would definitely be able to find a suitable path for himself. System: scan the 7 flowers and make a copy of all the Taoist rhymes recorded in them. Enter them into the resource vault. Even with the system's power, it took an entire hour to record all the Taoist rhymes into the resource vault. For this, Liu had expended a shocking amount of energy. Unlike you guys who grow Tao fruits, I'll use these Taoist rhymes to achieve my own Tao. This is the true path of the great Tao. After the scan, these things were no longer of any value to Liu. Then let's go back. Liu waved his hand and opened a spatial tunnel with the celestial cave he had on planet Suzaku. He took a step forward, and the world changed. Liu instantly crossed space and returned to planet Suzaku, the country of Yu, in the mountains near the Wang family village. The harvest from this trip is enough. Liu glanced at the resource vault. Apart from Lin Mo's Tao scripture and time restriction, one of the 4 ancient divine restrictions, the biggest gain was the various Taoist rhymes collected from the 7-colored Tao flower. In comparison, the other rank 12 beasts, the reincarnation pill, the heaven sealing formation, the sealing extermination race bloodline, and the spirit controlling seal were nothing. With the memories of Lord Sealed Realm and Situ Nan, as well as Lin Mo's scripture, I can completely decipher the cultivation system of this world. Situ Nan was a first-step cultivator, the Lord of the Sealed Realm was a third-step cultivator, and Limo was the strongest cultivator in the world who had crossed the heaven-treading 9 bridges and reached the heaven-treading realm. Combining Situ Nan and the Lord of the Sealed Realm's memories, he could completely decipher the cultivation path from the first step to the peak of the 3rd step. With Lin Mo's scripture, he could decipher the 4th step. This way, the theoretical foundation was already solid. With the theoretical foundation, Liu could use his own foundation to digest and absorb the various Taoist rhymes collected from the 7-colored Tao flower to form his own Tao. With this, he could fuse the power of a Yang God and the Xianhuang Qi. But I don't know how long it will take to digest and absorb so many Taoist rhymes and turn them in my own Tao. Cultivation was timeless. Even if it took 1,000 years to break through, it would be worth it. Wang Yu has the heavenly fate pearl, so I don't have to worry about him for now. I'd better go into closed-door cultivation and break through as soon as possible. After making up his mind, Liu waved his hand and sealed the entire eternal immortal palace. It turned into a tiny speck of sand and was buried deep underground. My Yang God has been formed, and my soul can be divided into 129,600 thoughts. As long as one thought remains, my soul will remain immortal. Every thought is equivalent to another me. Liu sat down in the main hall of the eternal immortal palace. He left one thought to pay attention to the host's matters, and the rest of his thoughts entered his cultivation. Qi condensation, foundation establishment, core formation, nascent soul, soul formation, soul transformation, and ascendant. This is the first step of cultivation. The transition from the first step to the second step, illusory yin, corporeal yang. The second step, nirvana scryer, nirvana cleanser, and nirvana shatter. The third step, void realm, nirvana void, spirit void, arcane void, and void tribulate. The transition from the 3rd step to the 4th step, heaven trampling 9 bridges. The 4th step, heaven trampling. The 120,000 thoughts continued to analyze the cultivation path of this world. He understood the entire system in his heart. In my Qi refinement Tao, Xianhuang is the beginning and end of all things. All of the grand Taos of the essence of matter are within profound yellow. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, light, darkness, ice. Xianhuang can create all things and destroy all things. Therefore, life, death, and reincarnation are also part of this Tao. I also have the great 5 elements, magnetism, annihilation, divine light. Therefore, annihilation and extinction are also my Tao. Xianhuang is the mother of all things, the beginning of all things. It is also necessary to master the Tao of primordial. This was only the Qi refinement Tao. The Yang God still needed a lot of Taoist rhymes. My Yang God combines the past, present, and future, the eternal moment, the two scriptures of the universe, the spiritual incantation, and the 8 trigrams of the Book of Changes to evolve heaven and earth into the Tao. The creation of chaos, the evolution of yin and yang, the flow of time, the alternation of light and darkness, and the birth of all things. In addition, there is the Tao of heavenly justice, the Tao of heavenly fate, the Tao of control, and the Tao of the Book of Changes. After summarizing his own Tao, Li realized that he still had a long way to go to integrate the power of the Yang God and Xianhuang Qi. Even if I seclude myself in this world for 1,000 years, with the power of 120,000 thoughts, I might not be able to truly comprehend my Tao. Liu frowned slightly. In that case, I'll have to keep the illusory realm open for a long time. In the illusory realm, you would have to spend 10 times, 100 times, or even 10 million times longer than normal to comprehend the Taoist rhymes in the 7-color Tao flower, digest it, and achieve his own Tao. Now, it seemed that this was very necessary. But it won't consume much energy to keep the illusory realm open for a short time. If I keep it open for 1,000 years, even with Liu's current wealth, he couldn't afford such a huge consumption of energy. That's why Wang Yu has to be responsible for collecting resources for me and collecting system energy. Thinking of this, the divine sense that was paying attention to Wang Yu's actions instantly gave an order. Destiny Pearl, Wang Yu can't stay idle in the Hung Yu sect. Let him go out and fight monsters to level up. The heavenly fate jewels immediately responded to his command. Wang Yu's path of scourging the cultivation world had begun. Chapter 393. Going out to rob again? In the back mountain of the Hung Yu sect, Wang Yu was cultivating in his cave when he heard the Destiny Pearl disdainfully say, "Instead of cultivating here for 10 years, it's better to go out and rob for a day." After entering the Hung Yu sect with Wang Yu's talent, the Hung Yu sect treated him like a treasure. They provided him with all the resources he needed and even let him cultivate in the back mountain. In the past few days, Wang Yu felt that his cultivation had made good progress. Every time he finished cultivating, he could clearly feel his cultivation increase. However, the Destiny Pearl was very dissatisfied with this. "Kid, don't waste time here, let's go." "Senior Destiny Pearl, I'm cultivating in the back mountain. It's not convenient for me to go out." Wang Yu was naturally very tempted by the Destiny Pearl suggestion. Who didn't want their cultivation to increase quickly? However, the Destiny Pearl was sealed by a formation and would not be released until the end of the time. "With this old man here, what are you worried about?" The Heaven's Will's spirit appeared in the cave and waved its hand, releasing a watery curtain of light. "Let's go. Just come back before the end of the closed-door cultivation." "That's not bad." Wang Yu smiled and nodded. He stepped into the light curtain and instantly left the Hung Yu sect. After passing through the light curtain, the world changed. In front of him was a monstrous fog with dense moisture. It was as if he would choke if he took a breath. The vast and boundless fog revealed a dense chill that made people's hearts tremble. However, Wang Yu already had an ice spiritual root. As the cold water vapor enveloped him, it actually made him feel comfortable all over. "Senior Destiny Pearl, where is this? This place is really suitable for me to cultivate." Wang Yu felt the cold aura between heaven and earth and was very happy. "Hee, of course it's suitable." The Destiny Pearl stroked its beard and smiled. "This is the demonic cultivator sea. It's the place where all the demonic cultivators on planet Suzaku gather. It's very common to kill and steal. Even if they don't like you, they can attack you with a sword." Demonic cultivator sea? Wang Yu frowned and became vigilant. Although he didn't know how terrifying the demonic cultivator sea was, he could only live long if he was careful. "Kid, someone is coming." At this time, the mandate of heaven's spirit reminded Wang Yu in his mind, "Hide behind that rock. With this old man concealing your aura, as long as you don't come out to court death, no one will be able to find you." "All right." Wang Yu hurriedly hid behind a nearby boulder and quietly looked in the direction his heavenly fate jewel was pointing. Swish! Swish! Two streaks of light streaked across the sky. One was as red as blood, while the other was as green as will-o'-the-wisp. Fellow Taoist Zhang, how about we make the deal here? When the two escape lights landed, a middle-aged man with a sinister face appeared in the blood-red escape light. He turned his head to look at the other man with a pale face and suggested, "Fellow Taoist Lin, you're quite cautious. Are you afraid that I'll plot against you? Why do you have to do this?" The pale-faced man laughed dryly. He took out a jade slip and handed it over without a care in the world. "The method to set up the blood transformation formation is here. Take it." "Brother Zhang, don't be angry. I was being paranoid." Fellow Taoist Lin smiled and took the jade slip. He touched it with his spiritual sense and immediately determined that it was what he needed. Brother Zhang is indeed straightforward. Fellow Taoist Lin put away the jade slip and took out a jade box. He opened the box and presented it to the cultivator surnamed Zhang. "Brother Zhang, the ice-toed pearl you want is here." "Very good." The cultivator surnamed Zhang didn't seem to be on guard at all. He generously took the jade box. Explode. Just as the jade box landed in the cultivator surnamed Zhang's hand, the cultivator surnamed Lin sneered and shouted. Boom! The so-called ice-toed bead in the box suddenly burst open, and a huge amount of ice-cold power rushed out with a loud rumble. Sharp ice arrows whistled as they flew towards the man surnamed Zhang. "Bastard! You dare plot against me?" The cultivator surnamed Zhang hastily released a green circle, which transformed into a faint green light barrier in front of him, firmly blocking the incoming ice arrows. "So what if you blocked the ice explosion? I've already done something to your body." Blood curse technique. The cultivator, surnamed Lin, sneered and formed a seal with both hands. A blood-red light exploded on the cultivator, surnamed Zhang's body. "Ah!" The cultivator, surnamed Zhang, screamed. The blood all over his body was like sharp blades breaking out of his body. His entire body seemed to have been pierced by sharp blades, and he immediately fell to the ground. "Ha!" The cultivator, surnamed Lin, saw this and immediately laughed out loud. Halfway through his laughter, the cultivator, surnamed Lin, was shocked to find that his hands had turned green and emitted flames like ghost fire. Ah! The flames surged as if his soul was burning. The cultivator, surnamed Lin, hugged his head and screamed. "Cough, cough!" The cultivator, surnamed Zhang, coughed a few times and sneered. "You think I'm not prepared? Ha! The taste of netherworld fire, it feels good." "Kid, it's your turn." Wang Yu was watching in amazement. Only when he heard the reminder from the heavenly fate pearl did he react. This was the first time Wang Yu saw a battle between cultivators. Ice arrows, blood blades, and green will-o'-the-wisps. It was beyond the imagination of ordinary people. "Are you going to make your move?" Wang Yu glanced at the two exhausted figures on the ground. He reached out and took out the silver short sword. Releasing the spiritual energy in his body, he drove the silver short sword and flew over. Pooh! Even though Wang Yu was not proficient in the art of controlling weapons, the sharp short sword still pierced through the two. Pooh! Wang Yu drove the short sword again and pierced a hole in the two's head. Only then did he heave a sigh of relief and run out from behind the boulder. Collect! Following the instructions of the heavenly fate pearl, Wang Yu waved his hand and collected the two cultivators into the heavenly fate pearl. Two early-stage foundation establishment demonic cultivators. Not bad. After refining the cultivation of these two, it won't be a problem for you to cultivate to the peak of qi condensation. In fact, if the system refined the cultivation of these two foundation establishment cultivators, it would not be difficult for Wang Yu to advance to foundation establishment. However, Li wanted to maintain his own illusory realm for a long time, so naturally, he could only increase the proportion. In addition, the two storage bags were also collected. There were many magic tools, spirit stones, and talismans. Kid, find a place to go into seclusion. Increase your cultivation first. With the harvest, it was natural to increase his cultivation first so that it would be easier for him to continue plundering. 1 day, 2 days, 1 year, 2 years, 4 years had passed. Everyone, old Demon Frost is wreaking havoc. If we don't work together, we will be defeated one by one and die. In a valley filled with thick fog, dozens of demonic cultivators gathered together to discuss how to deal with old Demon Frost. A bunch of ants. What can you do even if you work together? At this time, a figure shrouded in a black robe, whose face could not be seen clearly, and whose body emitted a bone-chilling aura, whistled through the air and landed among the crowd. Freeze all things. The black-robed man shouted loudly and condensed an extremely cold light suddenly exploded. A dazzling white light swept across like a wave. Everything in the valley was frozen into ice sculptures. Oomph. The black-robed man waved his hand, and all the frozen cultivators disappeared. Old Demon Frost? What kind of name is that? The black robe lifted, revealing the figure of a young man. This person was naturally Wang Yu. Wang Yu was extremely depressed about his nickname. Old Demon Frost? That was too unpleasant to hear. Hee hee, no one knows you anyway. What are you afraid of? The heavenly fate Pearl laughed indifferently. Kid, your 4 years of seclusion is almost up. It's time to go back. Yes, it's time to go back. Wang Yu raised his head and looked in the direction of Zhao. For years have passed. I've become very strong. Chapter 394. With a flash of clear light, Wang Yu returned to the back mountain of the Hung Yu sect. I'm back again. Looking at the familiar cave residence, Wang Yu shook his head with emotion. Compared to the secluded cultivation in the cave residence, the past 4 years had been thrilling. Although he had gained a lot, Wang Yu felt a little numb from the countless battles between life and death. His heart became colder and colder, and his attacks became more and more ruthless. If it weren't for the major breakthrough in cultivation, Wang Yu would probably be a terrifying demon now. In the past 4 years, other than fighting, he had also practiced cultivation methods and skills, cultivated spells, and fought in the virtual world. Similarly, he had spent a long time practicing. At this moment, Wang Yu's state of mind was somewhat vicissitudes. Dong! A bell rang and spread throughout the back mountain. It's time for seclusion. Disciples, leave quickly. Under the command of the deacon elder, many closed cave residences in the back mountain opened one after another, and a group of disciples in seclusion came out. Who's he? Wang Lin, who came out of the cave residence, saw Wang Yu at a glance and greeted him with a smile. Brother Taiju, you're out? Your cultivation has grown very fast. Wang Yu turned his head and saw Wang Lin. With a sweep of his divine sense, he found that Wang Lin's cultivation was very abnormal. On the surface, Wang Lin seemed to be at the 3rd level of qi refinement, but Wang Yu clearly felt that the spiritual power contained in Wang Lin's body was far beyond the 3rd level of qi refinement. It was close to the perfect level of qi refinement. Qi. At this time, a mocking sneer sounded behind the two of them, and an extraordinarily handsome young man stepped forward. Wang Zhua? Seeing this cousin, Wang Yu frowned slightly. A mere 3rd level of qi refinement. You call it growing fast? Wang Zhua glanced at Wang Lin with disdain, then turned his head to look at Wang Yu. Huh? Who's he? You're only at the 5th level of qi refinement? Aren't you a genius? Even I am at the 6th level of qi refinement, and you're only at the 5th level? You're not a fake genius, are you? Get lost. Wang Yu was too lazy to care about Wang Zhua. He waved his hand, and a strong wind directly flipped Wang Zhua over. Wang Zhua got up from the ground with a dirty face and pointed at Wang Yu angrily. Originally, he intended to ridicule Wang Yu, but he was flipped over by him, which made Wang Zhua ashamed and annoyed. Originally, among this batch of disciples who entered the Hung Yu sect, he had the best aptitude. Who would have thought that Wang Yu would show up, and even have an ice spirit root? With Wang Yu's appearance, Wang Zhua's status immediately plummeted. How could the proud and arrogant Wang Zhua be willing to go from being a popular figure to becoming a marginal figure? Now that he finally had a chance to suppress Wang Yu, he naturally wouldn't let it go. Everyone, please be the judge. Wang Zhua's mind turned over a few thoughts and suddenly shouted out, Fellow disciples, come and take a look. This is our Hung Yu sect's new genius. Hearing the commotion, the disciples who had come out of seclusion immediately gathered around. Everyone, our new genius, Wang Yu, has only reached the 5th level of Qi disciple after 4 years of seclusion. I'm already at the 6th level of Qi refinement. This genius was only at the 5th level of Qi refining. What kind of genius is this? Seeing the crowd gathering around, Wang Yu's shouting became more and more energetic. He occupied the sect's best cultivation resources, but his cultivation is not even comparable to mine. He must be a fake genius. Fellow disciples, fraud, pretending to be a genius, and vainly trying to occupy the sect's cultivation resources. How can we tolerate this kind of thing? Is there any justice in this? Is there any justice in this? Wang Yu shouted vehemently, as if he was a warrior of justice. For justice, he didn't hesitate to sacrifice his own family. Yes, a fake. He must be a fake. Let's find a sect master to be the judge. Expose the conspiracy. Demand justice. Wang Yu's appearance must have touched the interests of some people. These disciples saw an opportunity and immediately stood on Wang Yu's side, loudly echoing. As a result, some disciples who had originally intended to stay out of this matter were also incited. For a while, the crowd was agitated, as if Wang Yu was unforgivable. Who's he? Wang Lin saw this situation and looked at Wang Yu with some worry. Brother Taizhu, don't worry. They're just a bunch of clowns. Wang Yu smiled. He couldn't be bothered to argue with them and was about to leave. You're not allowed to leave. Yes, you're not allowed to leave. Today, we must demand justice. We must expose the true face of this liar. Just as Wang Yu was about to take a step forward, this group of indignant disciples shouted loudly and surrounded Wang Yu and Wang Lin, blocking their path. What's going on? At this time, the deacon elder who was in charge of watching the back of the mountain flew over and landed in front of the crowd, roaring at the disciples. Elder Lu is here. Elder Lu, please uphold justice. Yes, Elder Lu. This Wang Yu pretended to be a genius and occupied the sect's cultivation resources. After 4 years of seclusion, he's only at the 5th level of Qi refinement. He's definitely a fake genius. Please uphold justice and expose the true face of this villain. Wang Yu stepped out of the crowd and bowed to Elder Lu, speaking loudly with an impassioned face. 5th level of Qi refinement? Pretending to be a genius? Elder Lu turned his head and stared at Wang Yu. Sensing the fluctuation of spiritual energy from Wang Yu, Elder Lu's face changed. Wang Yu, what's going on? Why are you only at the 5th level of Qi refinement? Why are you only at the 5th level of Qi refinement? Wang Yu chuckled. A wave of spiritual energy rushed up, and a huge pressure rushed out like a raging tide, causing the surrounding disciples to turn pale and stagger back a few steps. Complete Qi refinement? This is impossible. Sensing the fluctuation of spiritual energy from Wang Yu, Wang Yu's face was full of horror. He pointed at Wang Yu and shouted, Qi, I just used an aura concealing talisman. I didn't want to hurt you and make you lose confidence. I didn't expect you to be so ungrateful. Wang Yu picked up a talisman in his hand and waved it before putting it away. He secretly sneered in his heart. I haven't shown my true strength yet. Otherwise, I'll scare you to death. Complete Qi refinement. Good boy. You didn't want to hurt the confidence of your fellow disciples, so you used a talisman to hide your cultivation. You're really kind-hearted. Elder Lu looked at Wang Yu with shining eyes and nodded, praising him. Well, the kind-hearted old ice demon and the demonic cultivators who died in Wang Yu's hands would definitely not die in peace. Disciples, enter the gate and come out quickly. Now that the matter was clear, Elder Lu directly drove the disciples out. Yes, the disciples obeyed the order and passed through the restrictive spell formation, walking out of the back of the mountain. Only Wang Yu's face was pale and lost, as if he had suffered a huge blow. Of course, no one cared about what would happen to Wang Yu. Senior Tianming, what's going on with Brother Tieju's cultivation? Did he also hide his strength like me? While walking out of the back mountain, Wang Yu asked the heavenly fate pearl in his heart. Your brother's real cultivation is already at the complete chi refinement. Although it's far from you with his talent, to be able to reach this level, he must have had other opportunities. The heavenly fate pearl didn't directly say it, and just vaguely said, I see. Wang Yu nodded and was happy for Wang Lin. Brother Tieju's cultivation is already at the top of the Hung Yu sect's disciples. Then I don't have to worry about him. As for Wang Lin's opportunities, if Wang Yu had his own, why couldn't others have their own opportunities? After leaving the back mountain, Wang Yu returned to his dormitory. Senior Tianming, what is the origin of the cultivation method you gave me? Wang Yu sat on the bed and a white light appeared in his hand. Even if Wang Yu tried to restrain it, the white light still emitted an extremely cold aura. Even the water vapor in the air within 10 feet of him turned into frost. Ice spirit divine light, the coldest of heaven and earth. When this cultivation method is mastered, even the void can be frozen and everything in the world will be destroyed. Its power is boundless. The heavenly fate pearl pretended to brag, but in fact, this was one of the byproducts of Li Yu's seclusion. Li Yu obtained the netherworld ascension technique from Situ Nan's memory. This cultivation method could be used to cultivate to the extreme, so Li Yu naturally wanted to study it. The netherworld ascension technique's method to cultivate to the extreme was not complete. Li Yu used Taichu Motetsu as the foundation and combined it with the netherworld ascension technique to deduce the ice spirit divine light, which was known as the coldest of heaven and earth. Then, he gave the heavenly fate pearl to Wang Yu to cultivate. Whether or not he could cultivate to the extreme, at least this cultivation method was powerful. Chapter 395. Wang Yu has perfected Qi refinement. In the main hall of the Hung Yu sect, the Yellow Dragon sect master heard Elder Lu's report and was surprised and happy. Great, great. Yes. In 3 days, Daoxian sect will come for the exchange. Last time we lost. This time, we must vent our anger. Elder Lu said with a smile on his face. Yes. With Wang Yu as our trump card, we can definitely vent our anger. The Yellow Dragon sect master laughed and nodded. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. On the morning of the 3rd day, the entire Hung Yu sect walked out of the dormitory and rushed to the Hung Yu Peak Square. Huh, Brother Taiju, your sword. As soon as he walked out of the dormitory, Wang Yu saw Wang Lin walking towards him. Wang Lin carried a luxurious golden sword on his back. Such a nouveau riche giant sword made Wang Yu's mouth twitch. A sword made of gold and embedded with jewelry? This is too extravagant, isn't it? Haha, it's called wealth. Wang Lin turned his head and smiled at Wang Yu. Master said that we must take a sword with a strong momentum. I think this sword has the most momentum. The momentum is strong enough. Wang Yu shook his head speechlessly. This thing is very convenient when you don't have money. Just cut a piece and it's gold. I think so too. Wang Lin patted Ju Fu on his back and chuckled. Brother Taiju, this sword is useless. I have some things here. You can use them first. With that said, Wang Yu took out a palm-sized storage bag and handed it to Wang Lin. Storage bag? Wang Lin took the storage bag handed over by Wang Yu and scanned it with his divine sense. He saw a pile of spirit stones, pills, talismans, a flying sword, and a jade pendant in the storage bag. These things seemed to be full of spirit power and were very extraordinary. Huzi, where did you get so many treasures? Did the sect master give them to you? No wonder Wang Zhuo and the others hate you to the bone. You have so many good things, it's really too hateful. Wang Lin smiled and put away the storage bag. He was very impressed with his cousin's outstanding talent. He was willing to give away things that others couldn't get even if they risked their lives to get them. Wang Lin brat, this younger brother of yours is not simple. At this moment, Situ Nan's voice sounded in Wang Lin's mind. A few days ago, after the person in the stone bead woke up, Wang Lin received a lot of guidance from Situ Nan. At this moment, after hearing Situ Nan's words, Wang Lin was stunned for a moment. Then he smiled and said, Hu Zi's talent is outstanding. Of course he's not simple. TSK. What was his aptitude worth? Compared to me, he's not even fit to carry my shoes. Situnin sneered in disdain. After pausing for a moment, she continued, Brat, his talent is not worth mentioning. I'm talking about what he gave you. Things? Wang Lin grabbed the storage pouch and frowned. What's wrong with this thing? What's wrong with the things my brother gave me? This is a big problem. Situ Nin coldly snorted. Boy, do you know the value of these things? Not to mention the pills and spirit stones. Just the flying sword and the jade pendant are Jin Dan magic treasures. Jin Dan magic treasures? Wang Lin was shocked. He already understood Situ Nan's meaning. The Hung Yu sect's nascent soul ancestor went to the foreign battlefield 500 years ago and took away most of the magic treasures of the sect. Now, only one Jin Dan elder remained in the sect. Jin Dan magic treasures were rare in the entire sect. The purple spirit sword in the hands of the sect master Huang Long was also a Jin Dan magic treasure. It was known as the most valuable treasure of the sect. It could be seen how precious this thing was. Now, Wang Yu gave 2 Jin Dan magic treasures at once? My younger brother really is not simple. Wang Lin smiled and shook his head, thinking, no matter how simple he is, he's still my younger brother. I also have my own secrets. It's normal for Hu Zi to have some secrets, so there's no need to look into it. Putting away the storage pouch, Wang Lin and Wang Yu chatted and laughed as they walked to the Hung Yu Peak Square. At this time, the square was full of sect disciples. On the high platform, Huang Long and the other elders were already seated, waiting for the arrival of the profound Dao sect. Boom! Soon after, a loud noise sounded from the horizon. A giant centipede with a length of 100 feet, shining with black light, like a swimming dragon, swept through the sky. On the back of the giant centipede, there are dozens of figures. Except for the 2 leading elders, the other figures were all handsome men and beautiful women. Each of them had a high-spirited aura, and their expressions were somewhat arrogant. Huang Long, the exchange between the 2 sects once every 20 years has begun again. On top of the centipede, a black-clothed old man said loudly, his mighty voice shaking the wilderness. At the same time, the centipede under his feet burst out a black light, and a huge aura like Mount Tai pressed down on the Hung Yu sect disciples in the square. What a good show of strength! Seeing the panic of the Hung Yu sect disciples, Wang Yu frowned slightly. Using his divine sense, he found that except for him, only Wang Lin was calm under this aura, as if he did not feel anything. Brother Taizhu is really not simple. Even knowing that Wang Lin had hidden his cultivation, Wang Yu could not help but secretly praise Wang Lin's performance. It was not easy for a Qi refining stage cultivator to be calm under the aura of a foundation establishment stage master. Clang! A purple sword light rushed up, and a clear sword sound shook, dispersing the aura released by the profound Dao sect's people. Elder Ouyang, I haven't seen you for a few years. Your cultivation has improved. Congratulations. Huang Long stretched out his hand, and the purple spirit sword returned to his hand. Good sword. The purple spirit sword is really extraordinary. Elder Ouyang of the profound Dao sect frowned as he looked at the purple spirit sword in Huang Long's hand. The giant centipede fell, and the exchange between the profound Dao sect and the Hung Yu sect officially began. In the center of the square, there was a huge ring. The so-called exchange was naturally an exchange of pointers. At this time, a handsome young cultivator in a white robe from the profound Dao sect leaped onto the high platform. I am Lu Feng, and I would like to experience the skills of the Hung Yu sect senior brothers. After Lu Feng got on the stage, he arrogantly glanced at the Hung Yu sect disciples and issued a challenge. Lu Feng, use half of your strength. If you exceed half of your strength, you can go back and receive your punishment. At this time, Elder Ouyang of the profound Dao sect looked at the Hung Yu sect disciples with disdain and said a very insulting and contemptuous sentence. Preposterous! Who could bear being looked down upon like this? Therefore, a Hung Yu sect disciple jumped onto the high platform and went forward to challenge Lu Feng. Raging tide. Lu Feng stretched out his hand and pushed. A vast watery light surged out like a surging tide and sent the man flying out of the arena. Then, a few more Hung Yu sect disciples went on the stage to challenge Lu Feng, but they still could not last one move. This Lu Feng actually has a water spiritual root? The Yellow Dragon sect's leader frowned tightly. Lu Feng's momentum was like a rainbow, and he must be suppressed. Otherwise, the Hung Yu sect disciples would lose their confidence. Wang Yu. The Yellow Dragon sect's leader motioned to Wang Yu. In this case, he had to use Wang Yu's trump card. You want me to spar with him? This is too much of a bully. Wang Yu shook his head speechlessly and jumped onto the high platform. Raging tide. Lu Feng blasted out the same spell again. Using a water spiritual root to deal with me? Wang Yu sighed, stretched out a finger, and pointed at the raging tide spell. A little white light flashed, and a bone-chilling cold rushed up. The cold air spread, and the entire square became cold. The raging tide turned into ice, and Lu Feng was frozen into ice. The entire ring was frozen into ice. His wow so strong? Lu Feng's casual move instantly shocked everyone present. Compared to the demonic cultivator high, this kind of battle was simply child's play. As the old ice demon, Wang Yu really just casually pointed his finger. However, when this finger pointed out, everyone was frightened. Chapter 396. Lu Feng. Damn it! Elder Ouyang hurriedly rushed up to the high platform. An array of spiritual light shone down, unlocking the ice on Lu Feng's body. Why are you so heavy-handed? Huh? Ice spirit root? Elder Ouyang released the ice on Lu Feng and was about to attack. Suddenly, he saw Wang Yu's aura and his eyes lit up. What kind of luck does the Hung Yu sect have? They actually met such a genius? Elder Ouyang immediately changed into a kind smile. Young man, your cultivation is not bad and your aptitude is not ordinary. You are a promising talent. Huh, Brother Ouyang is too kind. The Yellow Dragon sect's leader landed on the stage and laughed. He secretly protected Wang Yu behind him, afraid that Elder Ouyang would take the opportunity to destroy the Hung Yu sect's future. Wang Yu secretly laughed. With your cultivation in the Foundation Establishment realm, I don't know how many of you I killed in the Demonic Cultivator Sea. After a few words, the four people left the high platform and the competition continued. At this moment, the one who stepped onto the stage was a charming young girl who was as clear as water, bright and moving. Lu Mei greets senior brothers. After Lu Mei went on stage, she bowed to the disciples of the Hung Yu sect. Her beautiful figure and bright face made all the disciples of the Hung Yu sect infatuated. Another genius with a water spirit root. The Black Dao sect is really lucky. The Yellow Dragon sect's leader sighed. This Lu Mei's cultivation was also very extraordinary. Except for Wang Yu, no one could resist her. Just as he was about to arrange for Wang Yu to go on stage, the Yellow Dragon sect's leader suddenly realized that someone had gone on stage. The Yellow Dragon sect's leader thought for a moment and suddenly remembered. This is that Taiju. Oh, Wang Lin. He is only at the 3rd level of Qi refinement realm. What is he going on stage for? This is not nonsense. The Yellow Dragon sect's leader was thinking when he suddenly heard a loud noise from the high platform. Immediately, the whole square was in an uproar. Huh? He won? The Yellow Dragon sect's leader suddenly stood up and looked at the very ordinary young man with a shocked face. This person, is he also a genius? On the high platform, Wang Lin directly shattered Lu Mei's water shield with a gravitational force technique, blasting Lu Mei out of the stage. With the heaven-defying bead's ability to accelerate time, Wang Lin had practiced this gravitational force technique for 20 years. He had long since turned it into something magical. The power of this technique was frightening. Actually, Wang Lin didn't want to be in the limelight. The only reason he went on stage was because Situ Nan had told him, "Kid, you've been cultivating for so long, but you've never fought before. If you don't familiarize yourself with it, you won't even know how you died." Wang Lin agreed with Situ Nan's words and took the opportunity to go on stage to test his skills. This person, below the stage, Lu Mei looked at the silent and deep figure on the stage, which was like an abyss of cold water. Her eyes flashed with a strange light. I created thousands of avatars and spread them all over the countries on planet Suzaku in order to complete the 1,000 illusion ruthless Tao. This clone has yet to choose a cauldron. This person's will is firm, and his heart is as firm as steel. He is suitable for me to use. Having secretly made up her mind, Lu Mei smiled and bowed to Wang Lin. Senior brother Wang's cultivation is profound. Lu Mei humbly admits defeat. Lu Mei had lost, but the exchange continued. With the sudden appearance of Wang Lin, the Yellow Dragon sect's head teacher was overjoyed. Under Wang Lin and Wang Yu's alternating attacks, all the disciples of the profound Tao sect who participated in the exchange were wiped out. The exchange ended with the Hung Yu sect's complete victory. For many years, the exchange between the Hung Yu sect and the profound Tao sect had always ended in failure. This time, they finally got their revenge. The sect's elders and the Yellow Dragon sect's head teacher were overjoyed. Not to mention Wang Yu, Wang Lin, the dark horse that suddenly appeared, made them dizzy from the surprise that fell from the sky. With the Wang brothers, our Hung Yu sect will definitely prosper, Huang Long said. Then, before they had time to rejoice, tragedy befell them. Early the next morning, the entire Hung Yu sect was shaken by a loud noise. Boom! A figure broke through the void and appeared above the Hung Yu sect. This old man is Dao Sex Jr. Why haven't you come to greet me? The mighty voice resounded through the sky, and a huge aura covered the sky. A heavy pressure like Mount Tai enveloped the entire Hung Yu sect. At this time, 8 white jade tablets rose from the Hung Yu sect's mountain gate. A light flashed and turned into a layer of light curtain to protect the entire mountain gate. Mountain guarding array? The Hung Yu sect is a sect that once had a nascent soul stage ancestral master. Unfortunately, your ancestral master has already fallen in the foreign battlefield. Ancestral Master Pu then took out a small mountain the size of a palm and waved his hand, smashing it towards the Hung Yu sect's mountain gate. With a flash of light, the small mountain turned into a huge black mountain and slammed into the mountain guarding array. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out. The huge shock caused the wind to blow and clouds to surge. Kacha! With the sound of glass shattering, the Hung Yu sect's mountain guarding array exploded. The huge pressure was like the sky was collapsing, and all the buildings in the Hung Yu sect shook violently. Under this pressure, all the Hung Yu sect disciples trembled and could only crawl on the ground. They couldn't even get up. Clang! A purple sword light rushed up. The Yellow Dragon sect's sect master's face was extremely ugly, but under the power of a nascent soul stage spiritual master, he could endure. Ancestral Master Pu Nan came here. I don't know why. What is the matter? Reverend Pu Nan stood on top of the mountain and arrogantly glanced at the Hung Yu sect. Your Hung Yu sect's nascent soul stage ancestral master has fallen in the foreign battlefield. From today onwards, the Hung Yu sect will be merged into my profound Tao sect. What? How is this possible? The Yellow Dragon sect's sect master and the elders were shocked, and their hearts turned cold. Their own nascent soul stage ancestral master had fallen, and now the profound Tao sect's nascent soul stage ancestral master had come to bully them. They had no power to resist. Ancestral Master Pu Nan, our two sects have always been on good terms. You doing this, you know nothing. Before the Yellow Dragon sect's sect master finished speaking, he was interrupted by Reverend Pu Nan. It is because we have always been on good terms that this old man came to take over the Hung Yu sect. Merge into my profound Tao sect, and you'll have a way out. Otherwise, wait for your sect to be destroyed. Ancestral Master Pu Nan, even so, my Hung Yu sect cannot be destroyed. Can you allow me to take some disciples with me? The Yellow Dragon sect's sect master knew that this was an irreversible situation and could only try his best to leave some seeds for the Hung Yu sect. Fine. Ancestral Master Pu Nan shook his head. This old man had some friendship with your ancestral master, so I will give you a chance. Ancestral Master Pu then pointed to the Hung Yu sect's gate. Those who are willing to go with you can take them with you. However, all the treasures in the sect cannot be touched. Otherwise, you will be exterminated. Many thanks. The Yellow Dragon sect's sect master knew that he couldn't win and could only retreat. Turning his head and glancing at the sect's disciples, the Yellow Dragon sect's sect master said, "Disciples, come with me." After these words, the entire Hung Yu sect's gate was silent. No one answered, and no one moved. People walked to higher places, and water flows to lower places. The Hung Yu sect had been destroyed, and joining the Profound Tao sect was the best choice. Following the Yellow Dragon sect's sect master, there was no guarantee of cultivation resources. Who would be willing to follow him? Even the Hung Yu sect's foundation establishment elders were unwilling to leave, let alone the disciples. Sigh. The Yellow Dragon sect's sect master sighed, shook his head bitterly, and turned to leave. Sect master, wait for me. At this time, Wang Yu flew up and landed beside the Yellow Dragon sect's sect master. Good boy, good boy. When the Yellow Dragon sect's sect master saw Wang Yu, he was overjoyed and excited. Me too. Wang Lin also flew over. Under the lead of the two of them, a dozen or so disciples from various sects arrived in droves. Some of these people were planning to leave. They felt that with their aptitude, they couldn't stand out in the Profound Tao sect, so they might as well follow the Yellow Dragon sect's sect master and get more resources. Some of them had a grudge with someone in the Profound Tao sect and were worried about revenge, so they had to come out. Senior Punan, we will take our leave. Seeing that no one else came out, the Yellow Dragon sect's sect master released an escape light and planned to take a dozen or so disciples with him. Leave? Wait. At this time, Reverend Pu Nin glanced at the crowd and reached out to stop them. Others can leave, but Reverend Pu Nin pointed to Wang Yu and Wang Lin. They can't leave. Chapter 397. Now you're dragging me into this? I've been tolerating you for a long time. Wang Yu's eyes slightly narrowed, the corner of his mouth raised into a smile, but his eyes flashed with a trace of cold light. Senior Punan, the Yellow Dragon sect leader, was about to defend himself when he was interrupted by Reverend Punan. You shut up for me. Reverend Punan coldly glanced at the Yellow Dragon sect leader, not only the two of them, but also your purple spirit sword. My martial nephew Ouyang has taken a fancy to the purple spirit sword and plans to use it to chop firewood. You, the Yellow Dragon sect leader's face turned red. His whole body trembled with anger. What? You're not giving it to me? Reverend Punan's face was cold, his eyes cold, murderous, as if he was about to attack at any moment. Good, good, good. The Yellow Dragon sect leader took a deep breath, gritted his teeth, took off the purple spirit sword from his waist, reached out and touched the hilt, hesitated for a moment, then released his hand and handed the sword over. Sect leader, you can keep this sword. At this time, Wang Yu reached out and stopped the Yellow Dragon sect leader. Wang Yu, the Yellow Dragon sect leader, looked at Wang Yu in surprise. You keep it? He can't keep anything. Reverend Pu Nan looked over with a sneer, pointing at Wang Yu and Wang Lin. You two, you shut up for me. Wang Yu coldly stared at Reverend Pu Nan. The coldness in his eyes made people feel as if they had fallen into the depths of hell. And Reverend Pu Nan's eyes narrowed. His heart jumped, as if he was frightened by Wang Yu's aura. Wang Yu, you can't. The Yellow Dragon sect leader was shocked. This is a nascent soul stage cultivator. How can he offend him? This is too dangerous. Who's he? Wang Lin's face also changed. Although he also wanted to teach Reverend Pu Nin a lesson, his own strength was not enough, so Wang Lin could only endure. But he didn't think that his usually calm brother would suddenly be so impulsive. Wang Lin secretly condensed his spirit energy. Once they fall out, he can only fight. He can't let Hu Zi die like this. Bastard! How dare you! Even though he admired Wang Yu's talent, ever since Reverend Pu Nan reached nascent soul, He had never been reprimanded like this in the state of Zhao. A junior in the Qi refining stage actually dared to be so disrespectful to him? So what if he was talented? There were many talented people out there. Die brat. Reverend Pu Nan roared, and with a wave of his hand, a huge palm appeared out of thin air and fiercely slapped down towards Wang Yu. Stop! The Yellow Dragon sect master cried out in alarm. The purple spirit's sword broke through the air and intercepted Reverend Pu Nan's palm strike. At the same time, Wang Lin slapped his storage bag and took out the Jin Dan magic treasure grade flying sword that Wang Yu gave him. However, both of their actions were meaningless. You dare to attack me? Wang Yu sneered and pointed his finger. A cold light bloomed, and a dazzling white light soared into the sky. Ice Spirit Holy Light. The extremely cold Ice Spirit Divine Light was the coldest thing between heaven and earth. It could destroy everything and freeze heaven and earth. The moment the Ice Spirit Divine Light appeared, Reverend Pu Nan's huge palm was instantly frozen. In midair, a giant frozen palm floated in the air, emitting a chilling aura. Seeing this scene, everyone in the Hung Yu sect was shocked. Wang Yu is actually at the nascent soul stage? But that cold light. Reverend Huang Long looked at Wang Yu with a complicated expression. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind, but he couldn't figure out the origin of Wang Yu's cold light. Reverend Huang Long was not an ordinary person. Within the realm sealing formation, in the brilliant void star system of the four divine sects, he was an avatar of the Vermilion Bird Holy Sect's sect master. Although it was only an avatar that comprehended reincarnation, and his cultivation was only at the foundation establishment stage, it wasn't as tyrannical as the main body that could shatter the power of planet Suzaku with one slap. However, his vision wasn't bad. This cold light seems to have a hint of the G realm, but it's not quite the same. What the hell is this? Wang Yu, what is his origin? The Yellow Dragon sect master's eyes lit up, and he silently put away the purple spirit sword. There was no need for him to intervene in the current situation. It wasn't something an ordinary avatar like him could intervene in. Who's he? Wang Lin's face was also filled with shock. His hand tightly gripped the hilt of the flying sword, but he didn't know how to intervene. Who's he? How can he be so powerful? Is he still my little brother? Could it be that he's been possessed by some old demon or devil? Kid, don't make wild guesses. It's not a possession. I saw him before he went into closed-door cultivation. Even if he was possessed, it's impossible for him to refine his body to the point that even I couldn't see a trace of it in 4 years. Situ Nan's words dispelled Wang Lin's suspicions of being possessed, but how could Hu Zi be so strong? In 4 years, he went from the first layer of qi condensation to being able to fight against a nascent soul cultivator? I'm afraid your little brother obtained some incredible opportunity. Situ Nin shook his head and said, that cold light of his is similar to one of my techniques. For years, to reach the nascent soul stage. No, it can't be only 4 years. It just looks like 4 years. Looks like it's 4 years. Wang Lin's heart moved. Combined with his 20 years of cultivation in the heaven-defying bead, he immediately understood. Could it be that he also has a heaven-defying bead? Chi, do you think the heaven-defying bead is a cabbage? Everyone has one. I'm afraid he has a magic weapon similar to the heaven-defying bead that can accelerate time. Is that so? Wang Lin nodded. With Hu Zi's ice spirit root aptitude, under the acceleration of time, it's not impossible for him to reach the nascent soul stage in a few decades or even 100 years. Unfortunately, my aptitude is still too poor. Even with the heaven-defying bead to accelerate time, I'm still only at the peak of qi condensation. Wang Lin secretly sighed, tightly clenching his fist. Hu Zi, I won't be worse than you. You are also a nascent soul cultivator. When Reverend Pu Nan saw that Wang Yu's cold light froze his palm print, he was dumbstruck. Even his palm print can be frozen. What exactly is this cold light? Fellow Taoist, my ass. Since he already made his move, as the old ice devil who killed his way out of the devil cultivator's sea. Why would Wang Yu talk nonsense with Reverend Punan? He immediately shot out another cold light. Damn it! Reverend Punan's face greatly changed. He quickly activated his mountain magic weapon to block the cold light. Kaka! The cold light hit the mountain magic weapon. The entire mountain magic weapon instantly froze into ice. Damn it! He's actually this strong? Reverend Pooh Nan found that his mountain magic weapon was frozen. Even the soul imprint on it was broken. This person is too strong. I'm not his opponent. Reverend Pooh Nan's heart gave birth to the thought of retreating. Reverend Pooh Nan also went to the foreign battlefield. He naturally knew when to advance and when to retreat. Humph! Wang Yu waved his hand and took Reverend Pooh Nan's mountain magic weapon into his heavenly fate bead. He let the heavenly fate bead refine it into a large seal. Brother Taiju, this is for you. Wang Yu took out the large seal and handed it over to Wang Lin. Who's he? Get rid of this evil. Why aren't you chasing after him? Why are you still wasting time here? Wang Lin was a decisive person. Even if he hadn't officially fought, his decisiveness had long been ingrained in his bones. Reaching out to take the large seal, Wang Lin shouted at Wang Yu, urging him to quickly cut the weeds and eliminate this scourge. After all, if a nascent soul stage cultivator tangled with you, it would be very troublesome. Don't worry, he can't run. These two brothers of the Wang family were not simple characters. Old Ice Demon's name was earned by killing. Brother Taiju, with this nascent soul stage magic weapon, ordinary people won't dare to provoke you. Be careful. Wang Yu nodded, waved his hand, and opened a light curtain in front of him. His figure flashed and disappeared without a trace. Seeing this void travel god art, even Situ Nan was dumbfounded. At this time, the entire Hung Yu sect was dead silent. Just a moment ago, it was a sect extermination disaster, but now, it seemed different. Things changed too quickly, catching everyone off guard. They didn't know what to do. Sect Master, should we leave? A disciple hesitantly asked Reverend Huang Long leave. Sect Master Huang Long looked at Wang Yu's departing figure and laughed. No, we don't have to leave. Maybe we can even take over the profound Tao sect. Chapter 398. Sect Master, I need to make a trip home. After Wang Yu left, Wang Lin went straight to Reverend Huang Long and requested to return home. Go home. Spiritual Master Huang Long was also an experienced person, so he naturally understood Wang Lin's thoughts. Are you worried that someone from Tao Profound Sect will deal with your family? Do you want me to send more people? No need. Wang Lin waved a seal in his hand. With this nascent, soul-level magic treasure, it can unleash an attack equivalent to a nascent soul-level Taoist master. It'll be enough to deal with ordinary people. All right. The Yellow Dragon sect leader nodded. Then go. If anything happens, let me know immediately. The Hung Yu sect is your backing. After witnessing Wang Yu's strength, the Yellow Dragon sect leader naturally knew that he had to rope in Wang Lin. Thank you, sect leader. After bidding farewell, Wang Lin flew towards the Wang family village in a flash of light. Half a month passed. Wang Lin stayed at home for half a month, and the news of the fall of the Tao Profound Sect's Taoist Master Pooh Nin had already spread. But he didn't hear any news about Wang Yu. It was as if Wang Yu had disappeared. Reverend Pooh Nin had fallen, causing the people of Tao Profound Sect to panic. Following that, a few large sects attacked the Tao Profound Sect and worked together to divide the Tao Profound Sect's property. What made Huang Long regret was that the Hung Yu sect was not qualified to participate in this division. Although he deliberately spread the news that Reverend Pooh Nin had died at the hands of the Hung Yu sect's ancestral master Han Bing, it had little effect. When those sect's members found out that the so-called frozen ancestral master was actually a Qi refinement disciple who had only been in the sect for 4 years, all the sect's members in the state of Zhao started to have doubts about this so-called frozen ancestral master. Fortunately, there were still some scruples, so for the time being, no one had any ideas about the Hung Yu sect. This made sect master Huang Long, who was under a lot of pressure, feel a little relieved. The Dao Profound sect was gone, and the Wang family village was no longer in danger. Thus, Wang Lin embarked on his own journey. Kid, with your aptitude, if you want to reach foundation establishment, you can only use this old man's foundation seizing method. Otherwise, who knows when you'll reach foundation establishment. Hearing Situ Nan's words and seeing Wang Yu's strength, Wang Lin made up his mind. He left the clan and stepped onto the path of survival of the fittest. Some changes had occurred in this world, but the wheel of fate had not left its tracks. When Wang Lin left his hometown and stepped into a city called Vine City, trouble came for him. The young master of the Tang family, Teng Li, was a late-stage foundation establishment cultivator. Through the treasure-seeking mouse, he discovered the fact that Wang Lin was carrying a precious treasure. Thus, a battle inevitably broke out. Swish! Wang Lin's face was cold, and his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. The cultivation world is indeed a place where the strong prey on the weak. There is no need for a reason to kill and steal. Ha, only found out now? Situ Nan laughed loudly in Wang Lin's mind. Kid, this person's cultivation base is at the late stage of the foundation establishment stage. It's perfect for you to use the foundation seizing technique and let you reach the foundation establishment stage in one go. I know. A cold smile appeared on Wang Lin's lips. I intentionally lured him out. Otherwise, with my nascent soul-level magic treasure, I would be able to kill him in one strike. Brat, you can't escape. Behind Wang Lin, a young man with a sinister expression looked at Wang Lin ferociously. You're only at the Qi refinement stage. Even if you have a precious treasure, you can't overturn the heavens. One chased while the other fled. The two of them rushed into the wild forest one after the other. This was an ancient ruin in the Zhao country. The dense forest stretched for thousands of miles. It was a good place to kill and steal treasures. Brat, you're not running anymore? Seeing Wang Lin stop in the forest, Teng Li's face was filled with a sinister smile. Even if you have a Jin Dan magic treasure grade flying sword, you can't escape from my hands. Accept your fate. Wang Lin coldly snickered and slapped his storage pouch. An ancient-looking seal soared into the air with an earth-shattering amount of energy. A nascent, soul-level magic treasure? Teng Li's face was filled with shock and fear. Fellow Taoist, this is a misunderstanding, My grandfather is also a nascent soul level. It's too late. Wang Lin pressed down with his hand, and the seal fell. It was as if Mount Tai was pressing down on Teng Li. Bang, bang, bang. A series of protective talismans on Teng Li's body exploded, and the seal landed on Teng Li's head. Teng Li's eyes rolled back, and he fell to the ground without making a sound. Well done. Situ Nin laughed out loud. Brat, quickly find a place and use the foundation seizing technique. After seizing his foundation, you can advance to the foundation establishment realm and cultivate my netherworld ascension technique. Netherworld ascension technique? Wang Lin nodded and dragged Teng Li's body. He found a cave and began to use the foundation seizing technique. At this time, Wang Lin still didn't know that he had provoked a huge problem. The moment Wang Lin killed Teng Li, the Teng family's ancestor, a mid-stage nascent soul cultivator, suddenly found that the protective talisman he placed on Teng Li's body had been broken. Lear, the Teng family's ancestor, took out a jade talisman and found that it was full of cracks. He immediately roared, "The life spirit tablet has been broken. Lear has met with misfortune. Who is it? Who dares to kill my grandson? My Teng family's people aren't that easy to kill." Teng Huayuan's face was ferocious. He slapped his chest and spat out a mouthful of essence blood. His hand formed a seal, and his fingers moved quickly. With my essence blood as the guide, with my bloodline as the source, streaks of blood-red spirit light wriggled into the air, condensing into one profound talisman after another in midair. With my lifespan as the goods, with my hatred as the reason. The wind howled as lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Streaks of blood-red lightning formed a huge formation in the air, with my nascent soul as the vow, with my Tao as the agreement. Within the formation formed by the blood-red lightning, a strange and terrifying ghost face appeared. Those who kill my Tang family's people will be cursed by me. With the gods as the witness, I will not rest until death. 9 Underworld Vengeance Vow complete. Crack. With a thunderous explosion, an inexplicable aura soared into the sky and swept across the entire country of Zhao. In the desolate forest, Wang Lin had just refined Tung Li's body with the foundation stealing art. 6 balls of light were formed: blood, flesh, root, bone, soul, and spirit. Just as he was about to devour them, Wang Lin's heart skipped a beat and a blood-red mark appeared on his forehead. Damn it, you've been cursed. Situ Nan's expression changed. This curse has no attack power. It's just a location marker. This is a vengeance vow. Someone wants to fight you to the death. The reason why I killed Tung Li. Wang Lin's expression didn't change at all. He reached out and swallowed the 6 balls of light. Since I've already killed him, I'll finish the foundation stealing art first. You're brave. Situ Nin praised and smiled. You don't have to worry. Although I'm not as strong as I was back then, I can still help you hide this curse. Thank you, Wang Lin said. He calmed his heart and began to use the foundation stealing art to refine the 6 balls of light in order to reach the foundation building realm. Chapter 399. Time passed day by day. Because Situ Nan hid the curse mark, Tung Huayuan wasn't able to find Wang Lin. Thus, Tung Huayuan found a cultivator in the country of Zhao who was proficient in divination. Under the divination of this cultivator, named Qimingzi, Tung Huayuan found the Wang family village. On this day, the wind was gentle and the sun was shining brightly. The Wang family village was peaceful. Boom! A loud sound came from a void, and the sky darkened. A layer of black clouds covered the sky and covered the entire Wang family village. Amidst the dark clouds, a sinister old man in a black robe stepped out and floated above the Wang family village. He exuded a chilling aura. Behind him was an old man in a Taoist robe. These two were Tung Huayuan and Qimingzi. This is the Wang family village. Tung Huayuan looked down with a sinister sneer. You kill my grandson, I'll kill your entire family. Tung Huayuan's body flashed, and he landed in the Wang family village. This, immortal, this is the Wang family courtyard. Our Wang family also has a few people cultivating. Immortal, what business do you have with us? At the entrance of the Wang family courtyard, the middle-aged gatekeeper fearfully asked Tung Huayuan. The commotion caused by Tung Huayuan's appearance caused everyone in the Wang family village to tremble. When the gatekeeper saw Tung Huayuan arrive, his entire body trembled. What business do I have with you? Tung Huayuan glanced at the Wang family courtyard, and a sinister smile appeared on his face. Of course, to kill the entire Wang family. Tung Huayuan slowly raised his arm, and a sinister and terrifying aura spread out. A black light condensed in his hand, and a powerful aura covered the sky. Under this aura, the gatekeeper trembled and fell to the ground in fear. What's going on? What's going on? When this monstrous aura appeared, everyone in the Wang family courtyard was scared out of their wits and trembled. Ha ha! Tung Huayuan laughed wildly. Wang Lin, you kill my grandson. I'll kill your entire family. Today, the entire Wang family village will be bathed in blood. Everyone in the Wang family village will be killed. Immortal, spare me. I have nothing to do with Wang Lin. Damn it, that bastard Wang Lin, he actually caused such a huge disaster. Hearing Tung Huayuan's wild laughter and hearing him say the whole story, the entire Wang family courtyard was thrown into chaos and panic. It's too late. Tung Huayuan coldly snorted and the spirit light in his hand shot out. Chi! At this moment, a cold laugh came from behind Tung Huayuan. You want to exterminate my Wang clan? A cold aura enveloped Tung Huayuan's body. It was like the coldest thing in the world. chilling people to the bone. You? The icy voice and icy aura were like the descent of an icy hell. It was icy cold, deathly silent, and exterminating all living things. You. Tung Huayuan suddenly turned around and saw a young man in a black robe standing in the air behind him. The young man's expression was grave and stern. His eyes were like a bottomless cold lake. His entire body emitted an icy chill. Fellow Taoist, Tung Huayuan sensed the young man's aura and his expression changed. Just as he was about to speak, he was interrupted by the young man. Let me ask you, you want to exterminate my Wang clan? The young man looked at Tung Huayuan expressionlessly. His cold voice seemed to cause the surrounding temperature to suddenly drop. It went from a scorching hot sun to a cold winter. Wang Lin killed my grandson, very good. Before Tung Huayuan could finish speaking, the young man nodded and smiled. You want to exterminate my Wang clan? Then I'll exterminate yours. I spirit divine light. A dazzling white light shot out from the young man's hand. The extreme coldness froze everything in the world. Damn it! Tung Huayuan's expression changed greatly. He quickly released his Dharma treasure. Spirit light shot out and turned into a light screen in front of him. But it was meaningless. The extreme characteristic of the underworld ascension technique combined with the Taichumo Tetsu characteristic of the heaven-earth ice source. How terrifying was the power of this technique that Liu deduced. The ice spirit divine light swept across, and Tung Huayuan and his Dharma treasure were instantly frozen into an ice sculpture. This Qimingzi, who had helped Tung Huayuan calculate the Wang clan's location, saw the mid-nascent soul stage Tung Huayuan frozen into an ice sculpture with a wave of a hand. You came with him, so you must be his helper. Very good. The ice spirit divine light in Wang Yu's hand shot out again. Senior, I am Qimingzi. I only helped him calculate the Wang clan's location. I am proficient in the art of calculation. I still have use for her. Before Qimingzi could finish speaking, the ice spirit divine light hit him, and he followed in Tung Huayuan's footsteps. You calculated the Wang clan's location, and you're not an accomplice? Even if Tung Huayuan forced you, for your own survival, you would let the hundreds of people in my Wang clan die? In your eyes, this is very normal. So, it is normal for me to kill you. Wang Yu sneered. With a wave of his hand, he put Tung Huayuan and Qimingzi into his heavenly fate pearl. Who's Zi? At this time, the people in the Wang clan's courtyard trembled as they poked their heads out. Seeing Wang Yu's appearance, the people in the Wang clan let out a sigh of relief. Who's Zi, you're so strong? Although these people didn't know what level Tung Huayuan was at, they could tell that he was a very powerful cultivator. Such a powerful cultivator was killed by Hu Zi with a wave of his hand. Hu Zi was too strong. These mortals couldn't think of any other words. They could only say that he was too strong. Evil must be eradicated. You want to destroy my clan? Then I will destroy yours. Wang Yu nodded at the people in the Wang clan's courtyard. His body flashed, and he instantly disappeared into the horizon. Very good. The Wang clan's destruction has been eliminated. In the mountain near the Wang clan village, Liu left a thought to pay attention to Wang Yu. Through the heavenly fate pearl, he saw everything. When Tung Huayuan arrived, Liu had already noticed this thought and sent a message to the heavenly fate pearl. The heavenly fate pearl teleported Wang Yu back through the void, just in time to prevent this tragedy. In fact, the tragedy of the Wang clan's destruction had a far-reaching effect. Liu stroked his chin and smiled. It was because of this tragedy that old Demon Wang was so depressed that he officially transformed the cold energy he cultivated with the Yellow Springs Ascension technique into the supreme cold energy. After that, old Demon Wang and Tung Huayuan had a battle to the death outside Jueming Valley. In the end, old Demon Wang died. A wisp of his soul hid in the heaven-defying pearl and rushed into the nirvana void. After that, he turned into a soul devourer and reincarnated. Only then did old Demon Wang return to this world. The destruction of the Wang clan prompted old Demon Wang to reach the supreme realm. This supreme realm was one of the keys to the birth of old Demon Wang's clone, Ink, who would destroy the world. Speaking of which, if old Demon Wang didn't reach the supreme realm, didn't have grief, and didn't even have his wife dead, would Ink still be born? What would this world be like? Liu chuckled. I'm sure that will be very interesting. Liu didn't care about the heaven-treading Ink at all, because Ink couldn't appear in the timeline where Wang Lin's main body existed. The past and the future couldn't meet. Once they met, the past would disappear. Therefore, no matter how powerful Ink was, he could only appear in the timeline before old Demon Wang was born. Time in this world was originally a line. However, in order to resurrect his wife, old Demon Wang sent one of his clones into the past with a great technique. The timeline was already messed up. Time was a line, and old Demon Wang had drawn a circle from the middle of this line. Everything that happened in this world happened within this circle. What if I straighten this circle? Chapter 400. Of course, that's a matter for the future. It would be too easy to straighten out the timeline of this world. As long as Wang Lin's wife didn't die, there was no such thing as reviving his wife. The timeline would naturally be straightened out. Forget it. Let's not talk about this for now. Liu threw away the problem of the timeline and turned to look at the memories of Qiming Zi that the heavenly fate pearl handed over. Yes, this cultivator who didn't even have a nascent soul. Liu was interested in him because his Tao of calculation. Liu had the Tao of calculation and was about to merge the Tao of calculation with the Tao of Qi cultivation. Therefore, he needed to refer to the Tao of calculation of this world to see if he could get some inspiration. Qi's sensing method. The Tao of calculation of this world wasn't the book of changes or the 8 trigrams. Instead, it was to use one's own soul to sense the Qi of heaven and earth and calculate according to the Qi. This is a bit interesting. Liu nodded and passed this Tao of calculation to the other soul thoughts, letting those soul thoughts sink into the virtual illusion to analyze and comprehend this Tao of calculation. At this moment, old Demon Wang is participating in the battle in Juming Valley. The battle in Juming Valley is to compete for the quota to clean up the extraterritorial battlefield. This extraterritorial battlefield is connected to the Nirvana Void. That soul devourer thing seems to be a bit interesting. Liu had a thought and let the heavenly fate pearl trick Wang Yu to go to Juming Valley. Brother Taizhu, what happened? Wang Yu floated in the sky and looked in the direction of Juming Valley and frowned. Below Wang Yu, a huge manor had turned into an ice sculpture. The entire Tang clan was frozen by this extreme coldness. Before Wang Yu returned to the demonic cultivator's sea, he had already refined Reverend Pu Nan's mountain magic treasure into a large seal and handed it to Wang Lin. Logically speaking, Wang Lin shouldn't have any problems. Why did he suddenly cause such a disaster? Under the heavenly fate pearl's trick, Wang Yu was already worried about Wang Lin. He immediately decided to go to Juming Valley to find Wang Lin and see what happened. Wang Yu used the heavenly fate pearl to conceal his aura and rushed to Juming Valley. At this moment, in Juming Valley, although Wang Lin didn't advance to the extreme stage because of his grief, he had 2 Gene Dan magic treasures and a nascent soul magic treasure that Wang Yu gave him. He was an invincible existence in the entire Juming Valley. After attaining his foundation, Wang Lin had been practicing the underworld ascension technique in the desolate ruins. Unexpectedly, he was involved in a battle of corpse puppets. Under the threat of the nascent soul realm corpse puppet, Wang Lin had no choice but to use the teleportation array to enter the corpse sect. Then, the Battle of Juming Valley broke out. Wang Lin was sent to Juming Valley by corpse sect to participate in the battle. When Wang Yu arrived at Juming Valley, the battle in Juming Valley had already ended. Is this Juming Valley? Indeed, it's quite impressive. In front of him was a huge valley, and on a tall mountain beside the valley stood a towering Tower of Babel that pierced through the clouds. 5-colored light bloomed on the top of the Tower of Babel, and its mighty aura shook the surrounding natural powers. The Cultivation Alliance set up a Tower of Babel. In the entire Cultivation Alliance, which is the brilliant Void Star system, there's a Tower of Babel in every cultivation country. The Heavenly Fate Pearl explained in Wang Yu's mind. The foreign battleground was also created by the Cultivation Alliance. In order for a cultivation country to rise in rank, aside from having a high enough cultivation level, they also need to have achievements in the foreign battleground. Killing between cultivation countries is actually a way to raise poisonous insects. Fighting will allow the Cultivation Alliance to maintain enough strength to deal with the threats from the other star systems. As the Heavenly Fate Pearl explained, Wang had already landed outside Juming Valley. At this moment, the battle in Juming Valley had already ended. This time, the winner of the battle in Juming Valley is the Corpse Sect. The Cultivation Alliance messenger who controlled the Tower of Babel in Zhao loudly announced the result. It was the Corpse Sect? Hearing this result, all the sect members in Zhao looked at each other. In the past battles in Juming Valley, the Corpse Sect had never won a single battle. This time, the Corpse Sect won? Actually, the Corpse Sect didn't care about the victory in Juming Valley at all. The reason they participated in the battle in Juming Valley was to be possessed by the Corpse Puppet. The Corpse Sect was in the possession business. They specialized in providing bodies to the cultivation countries that participated in the foreign battleground. Every disciple of the Corpse Sect was a predetermined body possessed by someone else. Now that the Corpse Sect had won, the task of cleaning up the foreign battleground fell on the Corpse Sect. However, even the head of this branch of the Corpse Sect in Zhao was possessed by someone else. All the disciples who participated in the battle in Juming Valley were either eaten by the Corpse Puppet or possessed by the Corpse Puppet. However, the Corpse Sect in Zhao didn't care about this at all. Wang Lin became the only disciple of the Corpse Sect in charge here. Thus, this task was handed over to Wang Lin. In the process of cleaning up the foreign battleground and picking up the corpses, he could also obtain a lot of treasures. This opportunity made the other sect in Zhao very jealous. However, the result was already decided, and they couldn't do anything about it. Brother Taizhu. After Wang Lin came out, he was about to head to the Tower of Babel to teleport to the foreign battleground when he saw Wang Yu walking over. Hu Zi, why are you here? Wang Lin looked at Hu Zi in surprise, and suddenly remembered that the curse mark on his forehead disappeared. His expression changed. Hu Zi, did you kill a nascent soul cultivator with the surname Tang? I was just about to ask you. Wang Yu glared at Wang Lin. If I didn't return in time, our Wang family would have been wiped out. Phew! Wang Lin let out a long breath and rejoiced in his heart. A cultivator called Tang Li wanted to steal my treasure and was killed by me. I didn't expect that a nascent soul cultivator would appear. I didn't expect that he would be able to find the Wang family village. Fortunately, you returned in time. By the way, did you eliminate any future troubles? The Tang family's influence wasn't small. Even if they killed a nascent soul cultivator, they would still be a threat to the Wang family. Naturally, Wang Lin wouldn't be careless. Don't worry, the Tang family has already been wiped out. That's good. Wang Lin let out a sigh of relief. I'm going to the foreign battleground. Do you want to go together? Okay, I'm also interested. Then, the two came to the heaven-connecting tower and used the Corpse Sect's name to teleport to the foreign battleground. So this is the foreign battleground. After passing through the teleportation array, the two came to a vast void. This void was filled with a thick smell of blood. The surrounding space faintly flashed with red light, as if even the void was dyed red. In this vast space, there were broken corpses, broken weapons, and shattered treasures everywhere. Even though the Wang brothers were vicious and merciless people, they couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air at the sight of such a bloody and tragic scene. Kacha! In the distance, a stretch of space suddenly shook as if something had swallowed a piece of it. A stretch of space with a radius of 3,000 meters disappeared just like that. This is a void collapse. Kid, there are void cracks everywhere in this space. Behind the void is the Nirvana void. Don't mess around, or I won't be able to save you in time. The Heavenly Fate Pearl reminded Wang Yu in his mind. Wang Lin also received the same reminder from Sidonan. There might be some treasures here. Since we're here, we can't waste it. Whether it was corpses or broken weapons, they were all things that could be used by the heavenly fate pearl. Compared to the demonic cultivator C, which he had to kill himself, this place was simply free. Okay, let's split up. If there's anything, use the communication talisman to contact me. The two exchanged communication talismans and flew off to search for treasures. Chapter 4:01. Kid, these are all good stuff. Keep them. After Wang Yu and Wang Lin separated, the Destiny Pearl immediately asked Wang Yu to collect them. Activating the recovery function of the resource vault, an invisible wave spread out. Wang Yu flew all the way, as if he was cleaning up trash, collecting all the scraps along the way. Corpses, broken weapons, and magic treasures were all resources that could be recycled. Collecting along the way, refining along the way. Not long after, the void within a radius of 10,000 miles around Wang Yu was cleaned up. Not bad, the Destiny Pearl praised with a smile. After these scraps were broken down, the useless ones were all used to replenish energy, and the useful ones could be modified and used. Sure enough, picking up trash could make one rich. For an entire month, Wang Yu flew through the boundless space of the extraterritorial battlefield, letting the Destiny Pearl sweep through everything. Boom! While flying, Wang Yu suddenly found that a crack in the space in front of him suddenly collapsed, revealing a pitch-black void. Wang Yu frowned slightly as an icy aura that seemed capable of annihilating all things emanated from the pitch-black hole. Kid, that's the Nirvana void. There's some good things in there. Go in, with me protecting you. The Nirvana void can't do anything to you. Hearing the Destiny Pearl's encouragement, Wang Yu was tempted by the so-called good things, so he followed the Destiny Pearl's instructions and plunged into the Nirvana void. Cold, dead silence. Endless darkness surrounded him. There was no sound, no light. It was a completely pitch-black and deathly silent space. Kid, be careful. In the Nirvana void, you're like a bonfire lit in the dark night. Countless wandering souls will rush over like moths to the flame. Wandering souls? What's that? Wang Yu heard the Destiny Pearl's words and was confused. Let me show you and you'll know. Wang Yu's eyes lit up, and then the pitch-black scene in front of him changed. Seeing the scene in front of him, Wang Yu's pupils shrank. In Wang Yu's eyes, there were countless strange shadows in the void, like swimming fish, densely packed and covering the earth. These shadows had two horns on their heads, and their faces were ferocious. Their bodies were long, as if they were poisonous snakes with the heads of demons. Gag. Amidst the strange screams, these shadows swarmed towards Wang Yu like moths to a flame. The densely packed shadows were like an overwhelming tide, as if they were going to drown Wang Yu. Kid, this is a wandering soul, also known as a devil. It's best to devouring cultivators' souls. Calm your mind and leave the rest to me. The heavenly fate, Jewel smiled and turned on the recovery function of the resource vault to the maximum. Countless wandering souls surged over like a tidal wave and were sucked into the heavenly fate pearl. These wandering souls are formed from the power of the soul. After I refine it, it will be a great supplement for you. Wang Yu's heavenly fate pearl continued to disintegrate the wandering souls he absorbed, and the pure soul power he extracted from them merged into his divine sense. It actually increases divine sense? Wang Yu was pleasantly surprised. Wang Yu's divine soul power continued to fuse with his divine sense, and he felt his divine sense skyrocketing. His divine sense continued to grow and condense, and his divine sense grew larger and larger. Devour, absorb, refine. There was no concept of time in Nirvana space, and Wang Yu did not know how much time had passed. He only felt that his divine sense was like a vast and boundless ocean, so vast that it was unimaginable. You've crossed the line. One day, when Wang Yu realized that the number of wandering souls was decreasing, and finally, when there were no more wandering souls, a divine sense that was even larger than his appeared. Wang Yu was shocked. His own divine sense was already incomparably large, and now there was an existence even larger than his divine sense. This is a soul devourer, the master of wandering souls, the overlord of the nirvana space. But to you, it's a delicious meal. Delicious. Looking at the boundless divine sense of the soul devourer, Wang Yu licked his lips and nodded with a smile. Then I'll devour it. Following the guidance of the heavenly fate pearl, Wang Yu's figure flashed, and he charged towards the boundless divine sense. New soul devourer, what are you doing? Are you trying to start a war? Seeing that Wang Yu did not retreat, and instead charged towards it, the soul devourer issued a warning. War? No, I'm just hunting. Wang Yu sneered and crashed into the side of the soul devourer. He reached out his hand, and an incomparably large suction force rushed out. Although the soul devourer was the overlord of the nirvana space, it only had the ability to devour wandering souls. Under the recovery function of the system repository, it had no resistance at all. In a moment, the huge soul devourer was completely absorbed into the heavenly fate pearl. Done. After absorbing a soul devourer, the heavenly fate pearl immediately handed the soul devourer to Li Yu. A soul devourer? This kind of life form that's completely made up of divine sense is quite interesting. He let the system scan the soul devourer and analyzed its structure. The soul devourer has the aura of nirvana. This can be an experiment. Li Yu's eyes lit up, and he threw the soul devourer to the heavenly fate pearl, so that when it decomposed the soul devourer, it could retain the aura of nirvana. In the nirvana space. Kid, be careful. Get ready to refine the soul devourer. The heavenly fate pearl poured the entire soul devourer's divine sense into Wang Yu's divine sense. Boom! The huge divine sense was like a vast ocean. Wang Yu's face froze, and he quickly calmed his mind and continued to absorb and refine this divine sense. As time passed, this divine sense was constantly absorbed and integrated by Wang Yu. Boom! When the last trace of divine sense was completely absorbed, there was a sudden explosion in Wang Yu's divine sense. A translucent, crystal-like spirit crystal appeared in Wang Yu's sea of consciousness. Kid, this is the soul core, or called the soul crystal. With this, your divine sense has far exceeded that of ordinary people. In essence, you're no different from a real soul devourer. Divine sense had the essence of a soul devourer, and Wang Yu could be considered a soul devourer in human form. Wang Yu was naturally very happy about this. Before he had time to be happy, there was a sudden change. After the soul crystal was condensed, an inexplicable sense of nirvana was emitted, and it actually triggered the ice spirit divine light in Wang Yu's body. Boom! The ice spirit divine light in his dantian suddenly rushed up and slammed into the sea of consciousness. A violent explosion rang out, shaking Wang Yu until he saw stars. To Wang Yu's horror, the ice spirit divine light and the soul crystal actually became one. Li Yu had been painstakingly searching for the way of fusing divine sense and qi cultivation, but Wang Yu completed it so easily and simply. Divine sense fusion. So this is what it is? The heavenly fate jewel presented the entire process to Li Yu. After Li Yu finished reading it, he nodded his head in surprise. With this example, I'm even more confident in my Tao of divine qi fusion. Very good. Li Yu's face was full of surprise and joy. He already understood why Wang Yu could fuse his divine sense fusion and was more confident about his own path. The soul devourer of the nirvana void had the essence of nirvana. After forming the soul core, this nirvana and Wang Yu's ice spirit divine light had a mutual reaction. The ice spirit divine light was originally evolved from the combination of the netherworld aperture ascension technique and Taichu Motetsu. Cold, freezing, and finally returning to nirvana. Under the mutual reaction of the two nirvana intents, Wang Yu's divine sense and spiritual power resonated and blended with each other, turning into the nirvana intent. The ice spirit divine light gave birth to the nirvana cold light. The nirvana cold light. Everything returned to nirvana. This was the intent, not the extreme state, but it had the characteristics of the extreme state. So, the intent is the key to fusing divine sense. Wang Yu, that kid, got a bargain. He has the nirvana intent at the nascent soul stage. Chapter 402. Senior Tianming. This is Wang Yu was both surprised and happy as he felt the drastic changes in his body. This is the nirvana intent, the key to advancing from the nascent soul stage to the divine transformation stage. I've given you the intent in advance. Your path to the divine transformation stage will be smooth. The heavenly fate jewel took the credit for this accident and took it for itself without hesitation. Nirvana intent. Thank you, Senior Tianming. Wang Yu was overjoyed as he felt the power of nirvana. He was even more grateful to the heavenly fate jewel. Since soul devourers are so useful, I'll catch one for Taiju. Wang Yu leaped into the air and roared in the nirvana void. With the essence of a soul devourer and the nirvana intent, the nirvana void was like a fish back in water to Wang Yu. Not long after, Wang Yu caught 2 more soul devourers and returned to the extraterritorial battlefield under the guidance of the heavenly fate jewel. Huzi, where did you go? As soon as he returned to the extraterritorial battlefield, Wang Lin's anxious voice came from the communication charm. Taiju, Huzi, don't move, I'll come to you right away. A moment later, a streak of light whizzed over. Wang Lin's figure landed beside Wang Yu. Huzi, where did you go? You've been missing for 3 years. Wang Lin asked Wang Yu anxiously. 3 years? Wang Yu froze for a moment and shook his head with a bitter smile. I fell into a space collapse and entered the nirvana void. I finally came back. I didn't expect it to be so long. Nirvana void. Wang Lin was shocked, and his expression changed. After entering the extraterritorial battlefield, Situ Nin told him about the nirvana void. The nirvana void was a place where everything returned to silence. It was fortunate that Huzi could come back after falling in. Kid, I'm afraid it's not a matter of luck. Your brother must have a treasure on him. Moreover, he already has the intent, and it's the nirvana intent. That's incredible. Situ Nin praised in Wang Lin's mind. Treasure? Wang Lin smiled. Both brothers had supreme treasures. It seemed that it was not bad. Taiju, I obtained a fortuitous encounter in the nirvana void, and my cultivation has improved again. Wang Yu smiled at Wang Lin. I caught a few soul devourers. I devoured one for myself and left 2 for you. Wang Yu smiled and pointed a finger at Wang Lin's forehead. Taiju, pay attention. Prepare to absorb the soul devourer's power. Xiao Chun tapped Wang Lin's forehead. After the heavenly fate pearl disintegrated the spirit devourer, the spirit energy that contained the intent of extermination surged into Wang Lin's spiritual sense. Ugh! Wang Lin's eyes bulged as he hurriedly calmed his mind and absorbed the soul energy. Soul devourer? What a guy. This younger brother of yours is really generous. Kid, when you circulate the Yellow Springs Ascension technique and fuse with your divine soul, properly comprehend the nirvana concept. Who knows, you might be able to make a huge profit. Situ Nin hurriedly reminded Wang Lin when he was absorbing the spiritual energy. It took Wang Lin 7 days to absorb the soul power of the soul devourer. Boom! There was a sudden explosion in Wang Lin's spiritual sense as a translucent soul crystal appeared. At the same time, from the cold core cultivated by the Netherworld Ascension method, a deep blue, icy force rushed into his knowledge, sea, and merged with the soul crystal. Extermination? Extermination concept? Situ Nin was dumbfounded. Who are these 2 brothers? One is nirvana. One is extermination. Such a strong, murderous aura? Is he the reincarnation of a fiend? More importantly, Situ Nin discovered that after Wang Lin's cold core spirit energy fused with the soul crystal, there was a power similar to the extreme realm, but different from the extreme realm. Who said this kid's aptitude is poor? Apart from his spirit energy aptitude, this kid's wisdom, perseverance, and comprehension are all top-notch. Situnin curled her lips and was speechless for a long time. Taiju, there's nothing else to do here. Let's go out. Wang Yu didn't plan to stay any longer since he had already obtained the spoils from the extraterritorial battlefield. Okay. Wang Lin took out a token and activated it, forming a teleportation array. The two stepped into the teleportation array and instantly returned to the heaven-reaching tower outside Jueming Valley. It's only been 3 years, and you're already out? The Cultivation Alliance messenger at the heaven-reaching tower looked at the two of them in surprise and waved his hand, signaling them to leave. Cleaning up the extraterritorial battlefield was already a benefit. The longest time limit was 20 years. It can only be less, not more. If you want to come out early, then that's your own problem. After leaving the heaven-reaching tower, the two of them flew through the air and returned to the Wang family village. After staying in the village for a few days and seeing their family members, the two of them set off again. Taiju, I found a very special place in the demonic cultivator sea. That place is very valuable to you. After leaving the Wang family village, Wang Yu waved his hand and opened a spatial tunnel. He turned to Wang Lin and said, "That place is called the Shattered Star Plane. It is said to be the place where an ancient god died." Shattered Star Plane? Ancient god? Wang Lin was a bit confused. He didn't know what an ancient god was. Kid, if what your little brother said is true, then it is indeed a good place. An ancient god is an existence that can destroy a planet with a wave of their hand. If you can obtain the inheritance of an ancient god and obtain the bloodline of an ancient god, then you will have struck gold. Situnin clicked her tongue in admiration. Your younger brother is really a lucky star. He can touch any treasure. He. Wang Lin laughed and stepped into the spatial tunnel with Wang Yu. The void moved and the world changed. In front of him was a vast plain. The surrounding sky was filled with red mist, dyeing the ground with a layer of blood red. On this plain, there were countless rocks of different shapes floating in the air, surrounding the entire plain. From afar, this ring of rocks was hundreds of miles thick, as if it was surrounded by countless meteorites. This was the origin of the name Shattered Star Plane. Crack! With a thunderous boom, streaks of blood-red lightning flashed on the floating boulders. The streaks of lightning were like a spider web, connecting all the floating boulders into a single entity. What a guy! Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He was shocked by the scene before him. This is a Shattered Star Plane. I once killed a nascent soul cultivator of the 6th-level demon sect and learned this from his soul. Wang Yu pointed at the Shattered Star Plane and said to Wang Lin, "The land of the ancient god, the inheritance of an ancient god, the iron pillar, these things are very useful." Yes, Wang Lin nodded. He was also interested in the inheritance of an ancient god. Wang Lin, kid, don't be reckless. An ancient god that can leave behind an inheritance is not simple. Even in my prime, I was no match for an ancient god. If you want to go in, you have to be careful. Situnin certainly knew what an ancient god was. Even in his prime, an ancient god could crush him with one finger. I'll be careful. Wang Lin nodded and followed Wang Yu to the Shattered Star Plane. Stop. As they approached the floating rocks above the Shattered Star Plane, Wang Yu called out to Wang Lin and stopped. This was because the Destiny Pearl reminded Wang Yu in his mind. This is a magic formation. Don't go in. Wang Yu looked up at the floating rocks surrounded by blood-red lightning and asked the Destiny Pearl in his mind, "Senior Destiny, this magic formation is very interesting. It can create a clone that is 1 level higher than you. Kill 1, and 2 more will be born. Kill 2, and 4 more will be born. It's endless." The Destiny Pearl giggled and reported the situation to Li Yu. This magic formation is indeed interesting. Through the system connection, Li Yu scanned the magic formation and recorded it in the resource vault. He planned to use it to trick people in the future. Senior Destiny, how should we go in? Wang Yu looked at the magic formation and frowned. They were 1 level higher than him, and there was an endless number of them. How could he fight them? Chapter 403. How do we get in? It's easy. The heavenly fate, Jewel laughed. It's indeed troublesome to raise your cultivation level. However, I'll hide your cultivation level so that it's only at the mortal level. It doesn't matter if you have more. If they used other methods to hide their cultivation level, they might not be able to hide it from the formation. However, if they used the heavenly fate jewel to hide their aura, the formation wouldn't be able to do anything. After all, no matter how powerful the formation was, it couldn't replicate a system. Following the instructions of the heavenly fate jewel, Wang Yu waved his hand, and a stream of light flashed across his and Wang Lin's body. In an instant, their exposed cultivation level was reduced to that of a mortal. Let's go, Wang Yu called out and charged into the floating boulder formation. Lightning flashed in front of them, and two identical incarnations appeared. Their cultivation level was gone. Mortals didn't have such a thing as cultivation level. Even if they raised their cultivation level, they still wouldn't have any cultivation level. A group of mortals with no cultivation level naturally couldn't stop two cultivators. The two of them charged forward. One incarnation after another was smashed into pieces, and another was born. However, it was meaningless. After the two of them had traversed a distance of 100 li, the entire great array was filled with people. The clones of the two of them were packed densely together. Unfortunately, the two of them had already reached the end and walked out of the floating boulder formation. Whoosh! The numerous incarnations behind them shattered and turned into dust that merged into the ground. There's an entrance here. There was a huge hole in front of them. It was as if a piece of the void had been cut out, forming a door that emitted a faint light. Behind this door, rays of light of different colors flashed and disappeared. Black, white, red, yellow, and green, the 5 colors rotated. Behind is the land of the 5 elements. The heavenly fate jewel reminded them. The 5 elements rotated differently. Don't get separated. Later, listen to my orders. Hearing the heavenly fate jewel's instructions, Wang Yu and Wang Lin made their preparations and waited for the heavenly fate jewel's instructions. Let's go. The two of them moved at the same time and rushed into the door together. Whoosh! There was the sound of water beside their ears. In front of them was a vast ocean. A bone-chilling cold attacked them. Wang Yu and Wang Lin felt very comfortable. This is the land of the water element. This area was filled with cold nether water. Other than being cold, there's nothing special about it. Cold. Wang Yu smiled. He cultivated the ice spirit divine light and was known as the old ice demon. Naturally, he would not be afraid of the cold. Wang Lin had taken the netherworld ascension technique as his main cultivation technique. Naturally, he wasn't afraid of the cold. As a result, the two of them were completely unaffected by this water elemental land that was difficult for other cultivators to enter. After wading through the water for a day, the two of them finally walked out of the water region. There is a teleportation formation here. It must lead to the interior of the land of the ancient god. At the end of the water, on top of a huge reef, a teleportation formation was emitting bursts of spiritual light. Let's go in and take a look. The two of them stepped onto the teleportation array. With a flash of spiritual light, they were teleported to the next level. A path of no return. In front of him was a river with a stone bridge over it. At the head of the bridge, there was a stone tablet with the words Road of No Return engraved on it. There was a small line of words below the steel. I stepped on the floating stone formation and crossed the land of the 5 elements in an instant. Entering this road of no return is rather interesting. If you are fated to come here, remember the meaning of no return. Someone has been here, stepping on the floating stone formation and crossing the land of the 5 elements in an instant. This person's tone is not small. Seeing this line of words, Wang Yu and Wang Lin were shocked. If not for the help of the heavenly fate pearl, the two of them wouldn't even be able to pass the floating stone formation. The person who left the message seemed to have passed it easily. Puffed. The heavenly fate pearl sneered. Kid, carve a line of words too. Just right. Stepping on the floating stone, crossing the 5 elements, strolling leisurely. Road of no return, soul-bewitching technique, unworthy of a name. All right. Wang Yu also felt a little playful. He took out a flying sword and carved a line of words with a swish, swish, swish sound. Stepping on the floating stone, crossing the 5 elements, strolling leisurely. Road of no return, soul-bewitching technique, unworthy of a name. Seeing the line of words carved by Wang Yu, Wang Lin shook his head. "Uzi, stop playing. Let's go over quickly." "All right." Wang Yu put away his flying sword and waved his hand according to the instructions of the heavenly fate pearl. A light screen enveloped the two of them, isolating them from any outside interference. Since the illusion was isolated, the road of no return naturally had no effect on the two of them. Indeed, it was like strolling leisurely. They crossed the stone bridge easily. After crossing the stone bridge, the two of them flew away on a streak of light. Not long after, a huge mountain blocked their path. This mountain, Wang Yu and Wang Lin landed at the foot of the mountain. Looking up at the verdant mountain peak in front of them, they frowned slightly. This mountain looked very ordinary. There was nothing special about it. However, the two of them felt a little uneasy. They kept feeling that there was something wrong with this mountain. Restriction Mountain. This mountain is covered with restrictions. Every flower, every blade of grass, every soil, and every stone is a restriction. The heavenly fate pearl reminded. Wang Lin, kid, this mountain is not simple. This is an ancient god restriction. Don't barge in recklessly. However, this is also a good place to learn restrictions. Situ, Nin said in Wang Lin's mind. Wang Yu, this is a good place for you to learn restrictions. With me teaching you and these ready-made restrictions as examples, you'll be able to master restrictions very quickly. Thus, the two of them stepped onto the restriction mountain together. With the heavenly fate pearls scanning and analysis, all the restrictions were clearly displayed. The two old grandpas taught them step by step. Moreover, the two pearls had the ability to accelerate time. As they moved forward, they cracked the restrictions and set up new ones. At first, the two of them didn't move very fast. However, as they learned more restrictions, their speed became faster and faster. After spending an entire year, the two of them had broken through all the restrictions on the entire restriction mountain. Then, they set them up again and even added some more insidious methods. If someone else comes next time, we'll have a good show to watch. When they reached the top of the mountain, the two of them looked at each other and laughed loudly. 1 year in the outside world, including the heavenly fate pearl's virtual illusion and the heaven-defying pearl space, the two of them had spent about 4 years. After such a long time of immersing themselves in learning, the two of them had gained a lot. Boom! At this moment, there was a loud noise above the mountain. The shadow of a giant appeared in the sky. Comprehender of the restriction mountain, your wisdom is amazing. If you can enter my body, I'll give you the inheritance of the ancient god's restrictions. After saying this, the projection of the towering giant disappeared, and a shimmering teleportation formation appeared at the summit of the mountain. They walked to the teleportation formation. At this moment, the two of them found another line of words on the platform next to the teleportation formation. Breaking the restriction mountain and reaching the top. The ancient god's restrictions are just SOSO. Seeing this sentence, Wang Yu's heart skipped a beat. He took out his flying sword and wrote another sentence. I broke the restrictions in 1 day. How many days did you take? Putting away his flying sword, Wang Yu saw this fake sentence and laughed. You're really... Wang Lin shook his head speechlessly and pulled Wang Yu into the formation. With a flash of light, the two of them disappeared. Chapter 404. The third trial is actually the Nirvana Void. After passing through the teleportation array, what appeared before them was a pitch-black and deathly silent space. Countless wandering souls whizzed through the void. The appearance of the two was like two torches in the darkness. The wandering souls screamed and swarmed toward them. Wang Yu and Wang Lin looked at each other and shook their heads with a smile. Both of them had already condensed soul crystals and possessed the ability to devour souls. These wandering souls might be deadly to others, but to them, they were nothing. Since they're here, let's eat them. As soon as he released his divine sense, it swept out like a raging tide, sweeping away all the wandering souls that swarmed over. The remaining wandering souls were scared out of their wits. They screamed and ran away. The two of them quickly passed through the land of wandering souls without any obstacles. It was as easy as going on an outing. Behind this teleportation formation should be the place where the ancient god resides. At the end of the land of wandering souls, there was a giant teleportation array on top of a floating boulder. Let's go. The two of them stepped into the teleportation array and arrived at a very strange place. It was a golden world. There seemed to be a huge pipeline in front of him. At a glance, there was only a scene of brilliant golden light. What is this place? Seeing this scene, Wang Yu and Wang Lin were stunned. These are the meridians of the ancient god. You are now inside the meridians of the ancient god. The Destiny Pearl chuckled. Kid, this ancient god is probably very powerful. Looking at the meridians, I'm afraid it's at least an 8-star ancient god. Meridians? This is a meridian? If a meridian was this big, then how big would the ancient god's body be? Wang Yu was stunned. The ancient gods were born with the ability to change their size. Normally, they would be the size of a normal person, but when they used their full strength, they would be at their largest. The Destiny Pearl explained with a smile, this 8-star ancient god's largest body is larger than the entire Suzaku planet. Wow! Wang Yu sucked in a breath of cold air. A body larger than a planet was simply unimaginable. Right now, we are in the vicinity of the ancient god's Yutong acupoint. This place was the closest to the ancient god's sea of consciousness. The inheritance of the ancient god was in his sea of consciousness. Let's go. The heavenly fate pearl urged. Wang Yu nodded. Following the instructions of the destiny jewel, he and Wang Lin rushed towards the ancient god's sea of knowledge. Flying through his meridians, the huge passageway suddenly opened up, and a vast golden ocean appeared under his feet. This is the Yintang acupoint, an acupoint of an ancient god. The sea of consciousness is still behind. Don't delay. One acupuncture point was like a vast ocean. Wang Yu was shocked. He turned to look at Wang Lin and found that Wang Lin was also looking at him with a face full of shock. Taizhu also knows that this is an ancient god's aperture. It seems that the supreme treasure on Taizhu's body is also extraordinary. Wang Yu smiled and didn't take it to heart. After crossing the golden ocean, the two of them entered a huge tunnel. After flying for more than 2 hours and passing through a layer of light, the two of them finally arrived at the ancient god's sea of consciousness. Even though the two of them were prepared, they were still stunned by the scene in front of them. In front of them was a huge sphere, so huge that it was boundless. It was like a planet. This boundless sphere had one side as red as blood and the other side as black as ink. One black and one red. The two sides were clearly separated. The black half was shrouded in a thick black fog. There were faint sounds of thunder and flashes of lightning within it. The red half emitted a glaring red light that undulated like the waves of the sea. The black half is the sea of knowledge. The other half seems to be a seal. Kid, the ancient god's inheritance is in the black half. Hearing the Destiny Pearl's words, Wang Yu nodded and turned to look at Wang Lin. Taizhu, the ancient god's inheritance is here. It's suitable for you. Let's go. As he spoke, Wang Yu took the lead and led Wang Lin to the black part of the sphere. After passing through the black fog seemed to have a huge resistance. The deeper they went, the greater the resistance. Towards the end, the two of them were almost unable to move. Senior Destiny, Wang Yu saw that the situation was not right and could only ask the Destiny Pearl for help. I'm ready. Kid, don't worry. The Destiny Pearl answered, and an invisible wave rushed out and shrouded Wang Yu and Wang Lin. As soon as this wave came out, all the black fog around the two of them disappeared. The pressure was instantly swept away. Great! Wang Yu was very happy and continued to move forward into the black sea of knowledge. The further they went, the thicker the black fog. When the two of them passed through the black fog, there was a purple-black sea of lightning below their feet. Boom! Crack! Thunder roared and lightning flashed. The boundless sea of lightning seemed to be about to destroy the world and everything. How do we go in? Seeing this scene, the two of them turned pale. TSK, how can a mere divine telekinesis thunder stop me? The heavenly fate jewel proudly raised its head. Kid, you can leave without worry. Okay. Wang Yu trusted the heavenly fate pearl's promise. Until now, there seemed to be nothing the destiny pearl couldn't do. Carefully approaching the sea of lightning, Wang Yu found that all the lightning around him disappeared, just like when they passed through the black fog. It really works. Wang Yu smiled and waved at Wang Lin. Let's go. After passing through the sea of lightning, the two of them officially stepped into the sea of knowledge of the ancient god. In front of his eyes was a vast ocean. In the boundless ocean, there were waves of raging black tides, surging and churning. Senior destiny, where is the ancient god's inheritance? Looking at the boundless black ocean, Wang Yu and Wang Lin looked at each other in dismay. The scene in front of them didn't look like there was an inheritance at all. Watch out! At this time, the Destiny Pearl and Situ Nan's exclamation sounded in their minds at the same time. Boom! In the pitch-black sea, huge waves suddenly surged. As the waves rolled, a creature that looked like a dragon and a snake broke out of the waves and rushed into the air. It was a huge monster that was tens of thousands of feet long. After the monster rushed out, a vast and powerful force covered the sky and covered the earth. Wang Yu and Wang Lin were shocked. It was as if a heavy mountain was pressing down on them. They almost couldn't breathe. Plenilune. Is this the ancient god's companion pet, the Plenilune? How can it be so huge? Boy, don't move. This thing can kill you with a breath. Situ Nin exclaimed in Wang Lin's mind. Boy, this is a Plenilune, the ancient god's companion pet. This Plenilune is not in its final form. The final form of the moon-gazer serpent is just like the moon. The Destiny Pearl explained in Wang Yu's mind. Just like the moon, Wang Yu took a breath of cold air. Even a companion pet was like the moon. How terrifying was the ancient god? Young man, are you here to inherit the master's inheritance? The Plenilune wriggled, lowered its huge head, and asked the two of them. Phew! Seeing that the Plenilune didn't attack, but asked a question, the two of them were relieved. With their current cultivation, if they really wanted to fight with this moon-gazer serpent, it could probably kill them with a cough. Yes, Wang Yu nodded and pushed Wang Lin. He will inherit the ancient god's inheritance. You two passed the land of 5 elements and were lucky enough to be recognized by the master. Through the Forbidden Mountain, your wisdom was recognized by the master. Through the land of wandering souls, your strength was recognized by the master. It is in line with the inheritance rules. As the Plenilune monster spoke, it twisted its long neck and a scale on its neck flew out, emitting a gorgeous spiritual light and floating in front of the two of them. According to the master's rules, the inheritor must kill the master's enemy. As it spoke, the Plenilune monster turned its head and looked at the blood-red sky in the distance. The master's enemy is sealed in the sea of blood over there. The inheritor must kill the master's enemy. We agree. After receiving the guidance from the Destiny Pearl, Wang Yu quickly nodded and agreed. Very good. The Plenilune monster nodded. Then, the inheritance begins. The floating scale bloomed with a brilliant light, and huge crystals appeared in the light. Young man, remember your promise. The Plenilune monster glanced at the two of them, turned around, and plunged into the Black Sea. Chapter 405. Ancient God's Inheritance? It's worth learning from. The two most powerful races in this world were the immortal race and the ancient race. The ancient gods were a branch of the ancient race and were known for their powerful physical strength. The so-called immortal ancient Tao body was an ancient Tao true body that fused with the ancient demons and ancient demons on the foundation of the ancient god body. The ancient god's inheritance was worth studying for Li Yu. When a moon-gazer serpent released its scales, the crystals formed by the ancient god's inheritance appeared. Li Yu connected to his destiny pearl and scanned it without hesitation. In the ancient god's mind, numerous 10-meter-long crystals floated in the air, illuminating the surrounding space with a dazzling brilliance. Taizhu, go. Wang Yu gave Wang Lin a push and urged him. Taizhu, we're brothers. Why are you still talking nonsense? Go. Wang Yu interrupted Wang Lin and waved his hand at him. Okay, they were brothers. There was no need to be polite. Wang Lin nodded and reached out to touch the floating crystals. As soon as he touched the crystals, Wang Lin's body went limp and fell into the black sea below. At the same time, a round pearl flew out of Wang Lin's body and rushed into the ancient god's inheritance crystal. What's going on? The sudden change made Wang Yu turn pale with fright. He hurriedly supported Wang Lin, but found that Wang Lin seemed to be in a deep sleep without any movement. Kid, the ancient god's inheritance is a divine soul inheritance. His divine soul has already left his body and entered the ancient god's inheritance crystal. There's no danger. Instead, there's an opportunity. Don't worry. Hearing the explanation from the Destiny Pearl, Wang Yu was relieved. Kid, I don't know how long it'll take for him to absorb the ancient god's inheritance. Store his body in your heavenly fate jewel so that his body won't be damaged for too long. Okay, Wang Yu felt that it was reasonable and quickly stored Wang Lin's body in the Destiny Pearl. At this time, the nearly 100 feet long crystals trembled and burst out a bright light. At the same time, the heaven-defying bead spun and opened up an unknown space. Close to 100 ancient god inheritance crystals were instantly sucked into the heaven-defying bead space. Under the time acceleration of the heaven-revolting space, Wang Lin began to absorb the ancient god's inheritance crystal. Kid, take that bead and let's go. Now it's time to take your harvest. Yes, since he had already obtained the ancient god's inheritance, there was no point in staying any longer. More importantly, he also wanted to know what the Destiny Pearl was talking about. Wang Yu put away the heaven-defying pearl and followed the directions of the heavenly mandate pearl. He flew all the way out of the ancient god's sea of consciousness. Wang Yu flew along a wide tunnel. After an unknown period of time, Wang Yu rushed out from a huge gap. That is, after rushing out of the sea of consciousness, Wang Yu saw the scene in front of him and was stunned. In front of him was a vast and boundless void. In this void, an incomparably huge and majestic figure sat cross-legged in the void. It was as if even the void could not contain its enormous body. His vast aura made it seem as if even the heavens and earth could only lower their heads. This is the ancient god? This ancient god's eyes were closed, and there were 8 shining golden stars between his eyebrows. On his huge body, even the fine hairs were like giant pillars supporting the sky. A head of dark golden hair draped over his shoulders. Each strand of hair was like a huge swimming dragon. A simple and crude armor covered his entire body. The thickness of the armor was as deep as the earth. Kid, this is your harvest. The Destiny Pearl laughed and flew out from Wang Yu's body. The ancient god's soul has dispersed, but his bloodline is still alive. Kid, after I take this ancient god and refine him, you will also have the ancient god's bloodline. Take it. How could such a huge ancient god be taken in? Did the Destiny Pearl have this ability? In fact, of course not. Even if Li Yu was willing to spend the energy, he could not open a channel to take in an entire planet. However, after scanning the ancient god's crystal of inheritance and obtaining all the information of the ancient god's inheritance, Li Yu could use the Destiny Pearl to consume the system's energy and activate the ancient god's body resize ability. Kid, watch carefully. The heavenly fate bead flew out and landed on the ancient god's glabella with a flash of clear crystal light. System: activate the ancient god's body resize ability. The ancient god's body resize ability was originally the body's ability. Liu only needed to use some energy to activate this ability. However, activating this ability did not consume too much energy. After using up the energy of the class 12 dire beast in the 7-colored realm, it would be enough. Boom! The ancient god's body resize emitted a brilliant golden light. The entire void rumbled as if it had collapsed. In the brilliant golden light, the huge ancient god's body resize kept shrinking. It was like a balloon that suddenly deflated. The ancient god's body resize suddenly turned into a normal person's body. Surprisingly, even the ancient armor on the ancient god's body resize at the same time. It completely fit the ancient god's body resize. Take in. After the ancient god's body resize turned into a normal person's body, the destiny pearl roared. An invisible wave swept across, and the ancient god's body resize disappeared. It was absorbed into the destiny pearl. Let's go. The destiny pearl turned into a ray of light and entered Wang Yu's body. Even the ancient god's body resize had been absorbed. There was no point in staying in the ancient god's land of inheritance. Wang Yu nodded and activated the Destiny Pearl's void teleportation ability. He opened a space channel and returned to the Demonic Cultivator's Sea. Demonic Cultivator's Sea, Little Cold Mountain. This was where Wang Yu, as the old ice demon, stayed in the Demonic Cultivator's Sea. After returning to the Demonic Cultivator's Sea, Wang Yu activated the formation and sealed the cave. He waited for the Destiny Pearl to refine the ancient god's bloodline and for Wang Lin to absorb the ancient god's inheritance. In fact, after the ancient god's body resize was absorbed into the Destiny Pearl, it was immediately transferred to Liu. Ancient god's body resize. 8-star Imperial Ancient God. Not bad. Looking at the ancient god's body in the resource vault, Liu was very satisfied. This is a great harvest. Other than the ancient god's body resize, the ancient god's demonic incarnation to send in the Blood Sea Seal, and some cultivators imprisoned by Tuosin, there are also the ancient god's weapons, Star Destroying Spear and Plenilin Blade. These were indeed great gains, but Liu is not really concerned about these. What I need is an ancient god's secret superpower, Inky Flow Mind Splitting Technique. The ancient god clan had a mysterious superpower called Inky Flow Mind Splitting Technique. Once this superpower was mastered, it could split one's divine consciousness into 10, 10 into 100, 100 into 1,000, 1,000 into 10,000, and finally into billions of divine consciousness. Moreover, each divine consciousness had power that was not inferior to the main body's divine soul. Billions of divine consciousness splits. To me, it's very valuable. The Sun Soul could split into 129,600 divine consciousness splits. Under normal circumstances, Liu would not need to split so many divine consciousness splits. However, at this moment, 120,000 divine consciousness splits were not enough to comprehend the vast Taoist rhymes in the Rainbow Tao Flower. This Inky Flow Mind Splitting Technique was very useful. If billions of divine consciousness splits were to comprehend at the same time, the speed of comprehension would increase by billions of times. Very good. The Inky Flow Mind Splitting Technique is very useful to me. Chapter 406. I still need to cultivate the Flowing Ink Soul Split spell to be able to split my soul into billions. There's no rush. Liu put down the Flowing Ink Soul Split spell and focused on the ancient god's body. 8-star Royal Ancient God 2C cultivated the Flowing Ink Soul Split spell to become a 9-star Ancient God. However, at the critical moment, he was ambushed by Tua, Sun, the demonic avatar he cut off, and died. Liu looked at the resource vault. 2C's memories have been scanned and recorded. The inheritance Tuo San stole is also here. The ancient god inheritance is very complete. and I can use it. 8-star Royal Ancient God had strength equivalent to the second stage of the third step, the Spirit Void stage. In the current cave world, this was a very powerful force. This kind of power could be of some use. System: extract 2 portions of ancient god blood and transfer them to the Fate Pearl. If Wang Yu and Wang Lin wanted to become ancient gods, they needed ancient god blood. With these 2 portions of ancient god blood, the 2 of them could become royal ancient gods. Send the ancient god weapons, the star-destroying spear, and the moon-gazer blade to them as well. With these 2 Spirit Void stage weapons, even if they can only use a portion of their power, they will be invincible on planet Suzaku. Give them the moon-gazer serpent as well. Although the moon-gazer serpent is only at the first stage of the third step, as long as they don't seek death, they won't be afraid of running rampant in the cave world. In addition, scan the memories of the soul formation, soul transformation, and ascendant cultivators captured by Tua's son in the ancient god Sea of Blood. Break them down into energy and send it to Wang Yu. The power of more than 100 soul formation, soul transformation, and ascendant cultivators was enough for them to digest for a long time. With this kind of foundation, I don't believe you 2 brothers can't make a name for yourselves. A faint smile appeared on Li Yu's face. You 2 brothers turned this world upside down for me. After dealing with the resources that should be distributed, Li Yu planned to keep the remaining ancient god body for himself. System: reconstruct Tua Sen's divine soul. As my guard, reload his memory and brand him with a mark of loyalty. Integrate all the knowledge, skills, and divine abilities of the ancient gods into the new divine soul. With a flash of multicolored light, Tua Sen's soul instantly disintegrated and then reconstructed according to Li Yu's request. A moment later, a new soul appeared in the resource vault. Very good. Merge the new Tua Sen's god soul with the ancient god body. Under Li Yu's command, a new ancient god was born. With a wave of his hand, a handsome young man with golden eyes and dark blonde hair, wearing simple armor, appeared in front of Li Yu. Tua's son greets the Lord. After Dawson appeared, he walked a few steps towards Li Yu, half-kneeled on the ground, and cupped his fists in salute. His armor clanged, as if he were a calm, resolute, and solemn general. Get up. Li Yu nodded, waved his hand, and took out a shining golden dagger axe. He handed it to Tuason. This is the golden dragon dagger axe. Take it and use it. In the Marquis Champion's world, Li Yu had obtained 9 Holy Emperor divine weapons from the Jambu Great Formation. Only this golden dragon dagger axe was still moldy in the resource vault. Now, it finally came in handy. Many thanks, Lord. Tuason took the golden dragon dagger axe and felt the immense dragon aura and the abundant metal energy in the dagger axe. He was delighted. You are walking the path of body refinement. The ancient god technique is extraordinary, but the body divine ability is still somewhat lacking. You can cultivate this technique as well. Li Yu imparted the human immortal martial path to Tua's senator ever since he had obtained the 3 heads, 6 arms divine ability in the previous world. Li Yu had also integrated this divine ability into the human immortal martial path. Rebirth from a drop of blood, shape-shifting 3 heads, 6 arms, and the ancient god-size manipulation divine ability. With these divine abilities, Tua's strength would definitely be stronger. Go and cultivate. I will summon you if I need you. Li Yu waved his hand and sent Tua's away. At this moment, in the demonic cultivator sea, Senior Tian Ming, is this the blood of the ancient gods? In the cave residence of the Little Cold Mountain, Wang Yu looked at the 2 fist-sized golden blood balls floating in front of him with a face full of surprise. Through the explanation of the heavenly fate pearl, Wang Yu had already understood the importance of the blood of the ancient gods. These 2 blood balls could allow the 2 brothers to become true royal ancient gods. In addition to the blood of the ancient gods, there is also the ancient god weapon. With that, the heavenly fate pearl released a pitch-black spear and a long saber that looked like a cold moon. The spear was as black as ink, as if even the surrounding light was sucked into the spear. A destructive aura was emitted, as if it could even shatter the void and pierce through the earth. The long saber that looked like a cold moon emitted a cold and dead aura, as if the world was still and everything was returning to the void. Ancient god weapon? So powerful? Just feeling the aura emitted by the two weapons made Wang Yu's heart tremble. It was as if a sharp sword was hanging on his back. This is a treasure at the third step of the ethereal spirit realm. Even if you can't use your full strength, you are already invincible on this small planet Suzaku. The heavenly fate pearl let out a proud laugh. We are actually invincible. When Wang Yu heard this, his heart was filled with shock and disbelief. Kid, the harvest this time is great. There is also an incomparably large amount of spiritual energy, enough for you to reach the soul transformation stage. Even reaching the ascendant stage is not impossible. The heavenly fate pearl proudly raised its head. This is not the most important thing. Do you still remember the moon gazer serpent in the ancient god's sea of consciousness? The heavenly fate pearl waved its hand, and a light screen appeared, displaying the 100,000-foot-long moon gazer serpent. Moon gazer serpent. Wang Yu's pupil shrank, and he couldn't help but exclaim, "Could it be? That's right. Kid, I have refined the soul of this moon gazer serpent. As long as you become an ancient god, you can make it recognize you as its master with a drop of blood. This is the power of a third-step cultivator. With this, you could dominate the world." Wang Yu was already stunned by this pleasant surprise. With a weapon in hand, they would be invincible on Suzaku. With a third-step moon gazer serpent, they would be able to dominate the world. Coupled with a large amount of spiritual energy that was enough for the two brothers to reach the soul transformation stage, Wang Yu was shocked speechless. Taiju, we are already invincible. Wang Yu muttered to himself as he turned his head to look at the heaven-defying pearl floating at the end of the cave. Invincible my ass! The heavenly fate pearl roared. Kid, your own strength is the foundation. Don't be blinded by external things. Wang Yu's body trembled. This roar was like a clap of thunder that woke Wang Yu up. A cold aura flowed through his body like a cold current that cleansed his soul. All of his distracting thoughts were swept away. Thank you, Senior, for your guidance. Wang Yu's mind calmed down. His mind, which had been stirred up by this surprise, instantly calmed down. The surprise is too big. I actually forgot myself. It's good that you understand. The heavenly fate pearl nodded. Your brother needs to finish digesting the ancient god's inheritance. Even with that pearl speeding up time, I'm afraid it will take several years. During this time, you can't be idle. Indeed, Wang Yu smiled. Senior heavenly fate pearl, then I will refine and integrate the ancient god's blood first. Chapter 407. Kid, bear with it. The Destiny Pearl looked at Wang Yu with a strange smile. It waved its hand, and a drop of golden ancient god blood fell on Wang Yu's head. Bear with it. Wang Yu's heart skipped a beat. Looking at the expression of his heavenly fate pearl, he had a bad feeling. Sure enough, the drop of ancient god blood above Wang Yu's head exploded and turned into a cloud of golden mist that enveloped Wang Yu. Even though Wang Yu was mentally prepared, he still couldn't help but roar in pain. The golden mist around him surged into Wang Yu's body like hot magma. At this moment, Wang Yu felt that every drop of blood and every inch of his flesh was thrown into a hot furnace. It was roasted, tortured, and smelted. The intense pain came like a tide. He couldn't resist it at all. Kid, the path of ancient God is the cruelest. The heavenly fate jewel chuckled. From the day an ancient god's infant was born, it was sent into the core of a planet by an adult ancient god. They have to bear the torture of the planet's core and the pressure of the earth. Only those who can endure this pressure can survive and grow. So, the pain you're suffering now is worse than that of an ancient god baby. Kid, you can't bear it? Kid, you're worse than a baby? The Destiny Pearl's voice came into Wang Yu's mind. Wang Yu, who was in great pain, was shocked. No, how can I be worse than a baby? Wang Yu roared angrily. His soul shook. Cold air circulated in his soul. His heart was as clear as ice and as cold as an iceberg. One day, 2 days' time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, 5 years had passed. After 5 years, the golden mist around Wang Yu became thinner and thinner. In the end, all the golden mist disappeared. Boom! A dark golden light burst out, and an enormous aura shook the entire cave, making a buzzing sound. When the light faded, a young man with a head full of dark golden hair and eyes shining with dark golden light stood with his head held high. Is this an ancient god? With a casual wave of his hand, an explosive sound rang out in the air. It was as if a gentle wave of his hand had caused the surrounding air to explode. Feeling the enormous power in his body, Wang Yu was overjoyed. At this time, Wang Yu suddenly discovered that the yuan qi of heaven and earth that permeated the air was clearly visible to his divine sense. More importantly, as he breathed, the qi of heaven and earth merged into his body at an extremely fast speed. It seemed to be even faster than when he was meditating. What's so strange about that? When an ancient god grew from an infant to a youth, it could absorb all the heaven-earth vital qi of a planet. The path of growth for ancient gods is the path of devouring and plundering. The Destiny Pearl glanced at Wang Yu and nodded. Not bad. You are already a royal ancient god. At this point, the Destiny Pearl pointed at the heaven-defying pearl floating at the end of the cave. Kid, it's been 5 years. It's time for your brother to come out. Iron Pillar? Has he finished absorbing the ancient god's inheritance? Wang Yu was overjoyed. He quickly looked at the heaven-defying bead floating at the end of the cave. Boom! At this time, the heaven-defying bead shook violently and emitted a brilliant light. Crack! There was the sound of the void shattering. A black-haired, black-eyed figure emitting a deathly cold aura stepped out of the void. The figure appeared like a black hole. The entire cave seemed to darken a little. Iron Pillar? Wang Yu glanced at the black hole-like figure. He seemed to be unable to recognize him. Who's he? The dark figure looked up at Wang Yu. His pitch-black eyes were no longer dark. Instead, they flashed with a little light. Iron Pillar, you have another body? Seeing the figure in front of him, Wang Yu was a little dazed. When absorbing the inheritance, Wang Lin's soul left his body. Until now, Wang Yu had kept his body. Now Wang Lin had actually transformed into another true body? Wang Lin looked at his body and shook his head helplessly. I don't know what's going on either. I spent hundreds of years in the heaven-defying bead before I finished absorbing the ancient god's inheritance. I didn't expect to transform into another body. This body is the body of an ancient god. However, without the ancient god's blood, I can't be considered a real ancient god. Wang Lin looked up at Wang Yu. A smile appeared on his cold face. Looks like you've gained a lot too. You're already a real ancient god. Wang Yu nodded. When you were absorbing the inheritance, I also gained a lot in the land of the ancient god. With that, Wang Yu waved his hand and took out a golden ball of blood. This is the ancient god's blood. It's just right for you. After merging with the ancient god's blood, you'll be a real ancient god. All right. Wang Lin reached out his hand and sucked the ancient god's blood into his hand. He grabbed the ancient god's blood and slapped it on his chest. Bang! The ball of ancient god's blood was slapped into Wang Lin's heart. Bang! Bang! A huge heartbeat sounded like a war drum. Wang Lin's body exploded with a dark golden light. A huge aura rushed up. Not bad. Ancient gods are indeed extraordinary. The aura disappeared and the light dissipated. Wang Lin's figure reappeared. He didn't seem to have changed, but his essence was different. Although Wang Lin's ancient god's body was extraordinary, he didn't have the ancient god's blood and didn't have the essence of an ancient god. At that moment, the ancient god's body had the ancient god's blood. He had patched up the last flaw and became a real ancient god. He merged with the ancient god's blood so easily. Why did it take me so long? Why did you suffer so much? Wang Yu saw Wang Lin merge with the ancient god's blood and quickly asked the destiny pearl. After he received the inheritance, he already had the ancient god's body. He just lacked the ancient god's blood. Of course, it was fast. Moreover, he took so long to absorb the inheritance. Do you think he didn't suffer? The heavenly fate, Jewel replied in annoyance. All right, Wang Yu thought it made sense. He didn't care about it. He waved his hand and took out the Star Destroyer spear and the plenilune blade from the Destiny Pearl. Iron Pillar, this is also my gain. 8-star Ancient God's weapon is very powerful. Choose one. 8-star Ancient God's weapon. Wang Lin could feel the vast aura emitted by the two weapons, and he was shocked. Even the aura was so powerful. How powerful were these two weapons? The spear's aura is quite compatible with mine. I'll use the spear. The destructive aura from the spear was very compatible with Wang Lin's domain of destruction. It was the perfect weapon for him. That's the Star Destroyer spear. Yes, I also think it's very suitable for you. Wang Yu smiled and hung the plenilune blade on his waist. Iron Pillar, with these two weapons, no one on Suzaku will be a match for us. They're that powerful. Even someone as calm as Wang Lin was shocked by this news. He's right. At that moment, Situ Nin let out a long sigh in Wang Lin's mind. You two brothers are going to turn the world upside down. These two weapons are too powerful. Even if I were at my peak, I wouldn't be able to stop them. This brother of yours, where did he come from? Or should I say, what is the origin of the supreme treasure on him? Ever since entering the land of the ancient god, Situ Nin had been frightened by what he had seen and heard along the way. It was as if Wang Yu's treasure was omnipotent. Chapter 408. Taiju, aside from these, there's an even bigger harvest. Wang Yu called Wang Lin to sit down in the cave and continued to tell Wang Lin about their harvest. Taiju, I still have a large amount of spiritual energy stored here. It is enough for us to reach the soul transformation stage. More importantly, Wang Yu smiled and waved his hand. A small snake-like creature that was about a foot long appeared in Wang Yu's hand. This is a moongazer serpent? Seeing the small snake-like monster, Wang Lin's expression changed and he frowned. From the inheritance of the ancient god, he already knew the origin of this thing. This was the companion pet of the ancient god 2C. However, this thing was very dangerous. In the inheritance of the ancient god, it wasn't rare for a moongazer serpent to attack its master. Although this moongazer serpent looked very docile, it belonged to the ancient god 2C and wouldn't listen to anyone else's command. If one day it was angered and attacked them, the two of them wouldn't be able to resist. Kid, that moongazer serpent. At this moment, Situnan's scream echoed in Wang Lin's mind. That is the one in the ancient god's sea of consciousness. Damn it, this thing is too dangerous. If we aren't careful, even planet Suzaku will be finished. What's wrong? Wang Lin felt that Situ Nan's reaction was strange and asked Situ Nan in his mind. That moongazer serpent is too strong. That power was already unimaginably strong. A casual attack from it can destroy planet Suzaku. Kid, don't mess around. Situ Nan felt his face turn pale and cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Even at his peak, he was like an ant before this moongazer serpent. Such a powerful force in the hands of these two kids was too terrifying and dangerous. If one day they weren't careful, the entire planet Suzaku would be gone. Moreover, could this thing really be controlled? It is indeed very strong. Wang Lin had already obtained 2C's inheritance, so of course he recognized 2C's companion pet. However, if planet Suzaku was destroyed, why was Situ Nin so nervous? At this moment, Wang Lin had a vague idea that Situ Nan's origin must have a lot to do with planet Suzaku. Huzi, you are also an ancient god. However, you don't understand the knowledge of the ancient gods. The plenilune serpent is very dangerous. Wang Lin looked at the moongazer serpent and said to Wang Yu, how about this? I'll give you a copy of the ancient god's inheritance. You can see for yourself. Wang Lin extended a finger and tapped on Wang Yu's forehead. Wang Lin transmitted a copy of ancient God 2C's memories. It was different from Wang Lin's inheritance. This memory only contained pure knowledge, and divine abilities, but didn't contain the sole power of an ancient god. As such, it wouldn't take Wang Yu too long to digest all the knowledge and skills. Furthermore, he still had his heavenly fate jewels. After the memories were transmitted, Wang Yu's divine soul absorbed them one by one in the illusory realm through his heavenly fate jewel. Soon, he finished absorbing all the knowledge. Moon Gazer Serpent devouring its master. After digesting the ancient god's knowledge, Wang Yu frowned slightly. TSK, little brat, with this old man taking action, this Moon Gazer Serpent will obey your every command. Even if you want to kill it, it will willingly accept its death. Why would it devour its master? The Destiny Pearl snorted in Wang Yu's mind. Thank you, Senior Destiny Pearl. Wang Yu thanked him and then grabbed the Moon Gazer Serpent. He twirled it in his hand like a rope. Even though he was teasing and tormenting it, the Moon Gazer Serpent was still very docile and obedient. Taiju, do you see this? Wang Yu glanced at Wang Lin and pointed at the Moon Gazer Serpent in his hand. If it wanted to devour its master, would I still be alive? This is 2C's Moon Gazer Serpent. If it wanted to kill me, wouldn't it be as easy as breathing? That means, hearing this, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The Moon Gazer Serpent of an ancient god could only be controlled by its master. Even other ancient gods couldn't control it. Moreover, the Moon Gazer Serpent wasn't a docile pet. It was cruel and ruthless in nature. However, this Moon Gazer Serpent was still very docile and obedient after being tormented by Wang Yu. This was unusual. Wang Yu had subdued this Moon Gazer Serpent. This can only be due to the treasure in Hu Zi's hand. It can even do this kind of thing? That supreme treasure of Hu Zi's is indeed extraordinary. Wang Lin immediately thought of the reason and was relieved. That's right, Taiju. What about your original body? Wang Yu glanced at Wang Lin and waved his hand to release Wang Lin's original body that was stored in his Destiny Pearl. This is also mine. Wang Lin stretched out his hand and took over his original body. I plan to refine this body into a doppelganger. The body of an ancient god can only be refined by an ancient god. This doppelganger will be a chi refiner. That works too. Wang Yu nodded and smiled at Wang Lin. In the future, when we fight, we will have another helper. The doppelganger techniques in this world were simply overflowing. Lu Mei was only in the semi-god realm, but she could create thousands of doppelgangers. Even she was someone else's doppelganger. The Yellow Dragon Chief was also someone else's doppelganger. In the future, Wang Lin even created countless doppelgangers. Each doppelganger accompanied a girl. Ancient God 2C even cultivated the ink flow doppelganger technique. Wang Lin, who had received the inheritance of an ancient god, naturally knew doppelganger techniques. Therefore, it was not difficult for Wang Lin to refine his original body into a doppelganger. After refining the doppelganger with the ancient god's technique, the problem of Wang Lin's original body not being able to refine qi was no longer a problem. An ancient god from an infant to a teenager could absorb all the qi of heaven and earth from a cultivation planet. A doppelganger refined with the ancient god's technique would also have the ancient god's ability to steal qi. It would be very terrifying if used for qi refiner cultivation. Senior Destiny, should I also refine a doppelganger? Seeing Wang Lin run into another room to refine a doppelganger, Wang Yu was a little envious. He quickly asked the Destiny Pearl, "Kid, don't let your imagination run wild." The Destiny Pearl quickly cut off Wang Yu's thoughts. This was because it was not in Li Yu's interest. An additional doppelganger would consume double the resources. This meant that Li Yu's investment in Wang Yu would double. Naturally, it was not worth it. More importantly, the doppelganger was not the most suitable method. Kid, take the ancient god's path and quickly improve your cultivation. When the time comes, I will get you the bloodline of the immortal body. After the fusion, You will have the immortal, ancient, immortal body. Your body will be strong, and you will be proficient in immortal spells. Much better than any doppelganger. Immortal, ancient, immortal body? Strong body and proficient in immortal spells? Great, great. Hearing the Destiny Pearl's introduction, Wang Yu was overjoyed. He also gave up on the idea of creating a doppelganger for Qi refiner cultivation. In the following time, the two of them cultivated at the demonic cultivator seas, small cold mountain. Wang Yu took the ancient god's path. He dispersed his nascent soul and integrated all the spiritual power into his body. Two golden stars appeared between Wang Yu's eyebrows. The outline of the third star also appeared. One star of the ancient god's path was equivalent to Qi refiner and foundation building. Two stars of the ancient god's path was equivalent to Jin Dan's nascent soul. At this moment, Wang Yu was about to manifest the third star. It was a sign that he was about to reach the soul formation realm. At this time, Wang Lin had also created a doppelganger. There is still a huge amount of spiritual power stored in the Destiny Pearl. It is suitable for me to use. Wang Lin, his doppelganger, and Wang Yu absorbed the spiritual power stored in the Destiny Pearl and entered secluded cultivation. At this time, in the Hofen country that bordered the demonic cultivator sea, in the Halua sect, a sect famous for its alchemy skills, a beautiful woman stepped out of the mountain gate. She was a woman with eyebrows like smoke. She was as beautiful as spring. She was gentle and elegant like a lotus. She was an unforgettable woman. Her name was Li Muan. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.